I don't care. I know you got.
I
I
don't
know.
know what that would be.
Whatever, bro. I don't know. Whatever you want off the top of your head, bro. You can ask me.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Pokemon Gym Hero got kicked off somehow.
I don't care.
Did it kick you off?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I was like, kick you off.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. My bad.
All right. Give it a second for people to
Yeah. People trickle in and stuff. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I didn't put any type of like announcement out or anything. So
I got some questions for you though. So
for sure.
if anything, I mean, I don't want it to be reversed like me leading or nothing like that. But I mean, I'll ask you questions too if you want.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, I'm easy, man. I'm good to talk about whatever.
Bro,
I just know you had some stuff to talk about, and I wanted to get you on so that.
Well, no, it's
that guy in the comments or the chat anymore trying to get your point across.
Bro, I understand people's pain in there. Like people are like, I understand it, bro.
And I told you before, like I don't want to talk about just talk to people who have the same thoughts or agreements as me. Like that's no fun. That's boring. I want to talk to people that push and see things from a different angle. And I've also been in the hobby as longer and have
I mean, technically
experiences.
Technically, you've been in the hobby longer. If you said 2015, I think you came in before me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've probably been in as long as a lot of people, but I probably wasn't as deep. Like I never got
real. As like engaged, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would get on E4, but I wouldn't really post a whole lot. I would just kind of read a lot, and I watched YouTube and stuff. But I never made friends. On eBay, I would try to work deals and try to buy from the same sellers, but I never got to know them personally or kind of how you did with Ryan and stuff. So I never really got deep into the whole community, I guess is what I could say.
Bro, you want to hear? I have just things that I think are funny. You brought up E4, right?
Yeah.
I have never got on and actually used E4. Not one time. Not one time.
It was cool back in the day because I learned a lot. I learned
for sure. Yeah. For sure. The knowledge. I can bring up too. Okay. I can bring up something. You can ask me if you want about maybe how I started, and I can explain that too if you want.
Yeah, here. We started up. Why don't you just do that? Just give your kind of intro into your beginnings of Pokemon and just tell everyone who you are, and just you can kind of do that and get this thing started.
I just realized I don't care. I'm gonna leave it like that. But can I change it? My name, it says my actual real name.
Yeah. I don't even know how to change it, to be honest with you.
All right. Oh, rename. I think this is it. Oh yeah, this is it. Got it.
Yeah, I'm not the tech guy. Don't ask me.
Me neither, bro. Look at you. You got the stream up. I don't even know how to do that. But yeah, my name is Josh. That's my real name. But PokemonGymHero, that's my name. The reason why my name is PokemonGymHero is because, like I told you, my favorite set is Gym Challenge. So when I made my Instagram, I had my personal Instagram, and I don't know how much people do this now, but I had my personal Instagram, and I was like, I can't post Pokemon on this. People are going to see, and my friends are going to say stuff and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? I need to go make me a Pokemon Instagram. So I made me a Pokemon Instagram. And like I said, Gym Challenge is my favorite set. So I was like, what can I name myself? I can't name myself Pokemon Gym Challenge or Pokemon Gym Challenger. So I was like, Pokemon Gym Hero. Now, obviously, there's the Gym Hero set. So I was just like, all right, I'll stick with that, Pokemon Gym Hero. And actually, I got the original name. It's cool that no one else had that, because you start trying to think about names to make on your Instagram, bro. And so many people have the names already of, whatever your favorite Pokemon might be and stuff like that.
Always.
So what happened is I grew up with Pokemon, and I remember getting packs, from 7-Eleven, like I told you, Team Rocket packs. I remember opening base set 2 packs. I actually remember my brother's friend, when we would come home from middle school, he had the Japanese Southern Islands Miyu, and everyone thought it was fake because we didn't see Japanese cards like that. We just thought we were just like, whoa, bro, this is crazy. This card is probably fake or whatever. But I remember, bro, literally going to school with, rubber band around my cards in my book bag, teachers taking them and putting them in their desk. That was the nightmare, bro. If a teacher took your Pokemon cards and put them in your desk, you might as well just say, you're not getting them back. So, and also when I was growing up, I got into Yu-Gi-Oh. I played Yu-Gi-Oh, went to tournaments. I skateboarded. So what happened is as I grew up, I guess I got into different trends or different things. I actually threw away all my childhood Pokemon cards. Like I remember I threw them away, literally me throwing them into throw them away, throw them in the dumpster. Yeah, man, it was pretty bad, bro. Now I think about it because I was growing up and I was just thinking like Pokemon's not cool anymore, bro. No one likes it. So, but when I got to college, like I was saying, when I got to college, I just started looking at stuff and I seen stuff, bro. New Pokemon games would come out. I seen Evolutions was coming out. And I was like, you know, I want to get back into this. I want to check it out. It brought nostalgia for me because it was pretty much a base set reprint. And the first Pokemon cards I ever bought were gym challenge cards because I was trying to build a binder set. So I built a complete binder set of, you know, unlimited gym challenge cards. And that's pretty much how I started my collecting thing. And then I started seeing people post PSA graded cards. And then I was like, well, why is this card worth more that's, you know, graded and stuff like that? So then I started doing more research about PSA. And then I told you that's when I seen Jim Mint's video about how to submit to PSA and how to properly send off your cards. So, you know, I got a membership. And back then, you know, memberships was cheap and you could grade cards for $7 a card. And if it was a quarterly special, I mean, you might even get $6.50 if you're lucky. I think that might be the lowest it's ever been. I think the lowest I ever graded at though was like $7 or $7.25, I think. And literally it's so crazy because I looked at some of my PSA things and you could have stuff that you send off and you'd get it back literally in a week. And it might be like 100 card sub and you'd get it back so fast. But before all that, I started buying actually my first PSA card I did buy, it was Erica's Venusaur from Gym Challenge, of course. So that was my first ever PSA card I bought. And I bought it from this guy named David. And David lives in Washington. I haven't communicated with him in a long time, but he bought a lot of stuff from WotC employees and he opened a lot of stuff on YouTube. I don't know what his YouTube is. I wish I did. I tried to contact him to get that before I went live with you to try to like see if I could pull it up. But you want to hear something that's crazy? You know about the Shadowless Ninetales era, right? The no damage. PSA never I guess identified it or whatever. Like they didn't put it on like the label. Like they didn't say this is the no damage. He actually graded that card in a 10. And he sold it. And I remember him selling, I think he sold it on eBay. I don't
even know what's the premium on those. Is it a lot?
It's a lot, yeah. But I'm talking about this is back in the day though. So I think he sold that card for $9K. A PSA 10 no damage Ninetales, bro. Like you just don't see that because obviously if you open one now, it's going to have the residue or whatever because of the seal from the theme decks, right?
Yeah.
So
well, that's just Shadowless though.
Oh, is that it? Does it not have the residue from that?
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is that there's no first edition.
No, my bad. If I said first edition, my bad. But I'm saying when you open it and it's a Shadowless, they still have that residue, right?
Oh, yeah.
When you open, yeah. So that card would just be impossible. Like I think I think Rusty mentioned it, that if you want that card in a high grade now, you would have had to find someone who pulled that card back in the day and got it before, you know, obviously aging took place with the residue and put it into a binder, which I told you this guy bought stuff from WotC employees. So I was buying PSA cards from, bro. This is how I actually got my trio set. I actually own Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard, Unlimited PSA 10.
Okay.
I bought Blastoise and Venusaur from him, $200 each in PSA 10s. I mean, they're not like crazy expensive. I don't know what, I think Blastoise might be what, $4,000 now, something like that. And I know Charizard is like 10 grand, I think, for a 10. But
yeah, somewhere up there.
I paid, you know, what's crazy too is I just look back at some of my subs. I graded that Charizard in a 10 myself, and I paid $50 for that card raw. And I graded it for like $8. So I still have that card. So, but I mean, that's kind of pretty much how I got back into it. And then, like you said, honestly, bro, like I don't have like super, super close people like that I'm like super cool with in the hobby. Like I'm cool with, you know, Ryan, and I'm cool with this dude named Min. Like he owns Graded Guard, for anyone who's watching and knows what Graded Guard is or seen them recently. But those are like the two closest people I am, you know, with in the hobby that I've talked about stuff with. And I've learned so much from both of them. And I mean, they probably learned something from me, but.
Well, I mean, the biggest question, like the first thing to get off with is, I know you were a little critical of my PSA video. And so
talking about the grading cost.
Yeah. So just give your thoughts on, the grading coming down to 18 and kind of the case to why it's a good idea to send in cards. Mostly I was mostly talking about modern. So I keep on modern. So why would give you a good idea to send in modern cards to grade and be able, if they would be worth more when you get them back, be able to still flip them for profit? What do you think about that?
So in my opinion, I was buying stuff raw leading up to the hype. I was buying stuff raw during the hype. And I was even buying stuff raw before all that. So like I said, I built up an inventory of raw stuff, right? Obviously the stuff before that doesn't really matter because you can't really find that stuff anymore. But even in 2020, bro, in 2021, I was buying, raw stuff that I thought I'm going to grade this once PSA opens back up. So for vintage, in my opinion, if you have any vintage stuff that is in good condition and you know how to pre-grade your stuff, that's something that I would definitely tell people. Pre-grade your stuff. This isn't 2020 and 2021 when PSA was going to close and everyone just chucked everything. Like literally everyone called their middleman. I've never used the middleman, by the way, either. Like I know it sucks filling out the forms, but once you figure out their system and the best way to fill out their forms in their system is, you go year. So at the bottom of the Pokemon card, there's a year, 2003 or 2019. Then you type the set and then you type the number of the card that it's associated in that set, which could be like, whatever, 4 or 79 or whatever. And usually that card pops up really fast. So it's actually not as hard as people think to fill out a PSA submission. But like I said, so if you have vintage stuff and you pre-grade your stuff, at $18, it's a no-brainer in my opinion for vintage stuff. Because if you pre-grade, more than likely, I think everything that I'm sending off is going to get 8s, 9s, and maybe some 10s. Yeah. And the risk reward of that is, major for if something gets a 10 versus if it gets a 9 and stuff like that. But then, like you said, going back to modern. So in your video, the reason why I said something or was going to say something is because for me, I really feel like you didn't, like you said, you were talking more about modern, I guess, hollows or modern Vs or VMAX. I don't remember if you said that in the video. Yeah. I don't know if you did or not. Maybe you did, but I might have missed it. So yeah. I agree with you on that stance.
Yeah, and also like the box promos, the tin promos, the ETV promos, like anything that's like just super mass produced, no rarity, that type of stuff.
So that's the thing though. Promos, that's why I can't agree with that. Promos, maybe. There's certain ones. So like Greninja Gold Star, that's possible, you could say. The Charizard from Champion's Path, you could probably say. The Mewtwo from Pokemon Go, you could probably say. But what about the evolutions from the premium boxes?
Right. I knew you were gonna bring those up.
What about the Rayquaza I showed you from the Rebel Clash blisters? What about so for instance, just saying, I open up Rebel Clash when it comes out. Every time a new set comes out, I usually open up about.
Rebel Clash is kind of, yeah. I mean, Rebel Clash was kind of still during the boom, so it was kind of with base set. It didn't really get printed as much as the rest. So sure. I could see Rebel Clash stuff, yeah.
Well, no, not even saying cards from the set. I'm talking about the 3-pack blister from Rebel Clash that came out. The promo was the Rayquaza in the 3-pack blister. So when the set comes out, I open up a good amount of product usually, like just for fun, just to keep me entertained. I try to build a set of every modern set. That's something that I've been doing since I think Vivid Voltage. Okay. That I've been trying just to build, just to keep me entertained, to do something because I think it's fun, outside of just collecting, sealed product or looking for vintage cards. I also like to open up modern product and enjoy Pokemon like a lot of people do. But that Rayquaza I sent off, at the $10 grading, what was 2021 or whatever, but I graded 5 of them and they all graded 10s. I still have 3. I sold 2 though for $150 each.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a free card out of a blister technically. And I know people don't like whenever I say free card because technically it's not a free card. It's baked into the price of the blister. But okay, the blister was $12.99 at Target or whatever you want to say. So I paid $13 for that blister. I got 3 packs in a Rayquaza promo. I paid $10 to grade that Rayquaza. I sold it for $150. Like, Now, obviously, like you said, now this goes back, like I said, things change over time. More people have gotten stuff back, and there are some Rayquazas on the market now, and they've undercut. So now I think the lowest you can find that card is probably like 75 bucks. But even if I go today and change my price on eBay, or I relist and I list something for 64, like if I say that Rayquaza 75 and I undercut that person to 65, I'm still happy selling that card for 65.
Right, I get that, but what about like now, like the cards now? Not like what you have done in the past, but like
No. So
a 3-pack blister from, I don't know, name any set that's released in the past year or year and a half. I mean,
Evolving Skies, I sent off some Umbreons from that. If you the 3-pack blister that had the Umbreon,
okay.
I'm sending that card off, and you know how popular Umbreon is. We see it with the Moonbreon, right?
So, I mean, aren't you worried that if it gets 9s, they might not be worth $25 by then?
So this is my like risk that I told you that I'm like tolerable with. So I've always done this even back in the day. This is how I look at it. I look at what prices are selling for now, but I also put a price in my head that I think that card can sell for. So say Greninja Gold Star, right? That card's obviously, people will say, completely overpriced because there's not enough on the market to push the price down. So I've seen that card sell for 150. I've seen that card sell for 125. I've seen that card sell for 110. I've seen that card sell for 100, right? And obviously that's a card that everyone could have got if they opened up the ETBs. So if that card's selling for that now, if you sell it, grade it for 18 and it comes back, right? In my mind, a PSA 10 of Greninja Gold Star can sell for 40 bucks. It can sell for 50 bucks, in my opinion, in a 10. Now, if you sell that, you're going to make what, $20, $25. Now, obviously in your head, you're going to think money wise, $20, that's not a lot. $25, that's not a lot. But look at it in like you look at things in the ROI, in the percentage. A $2 card, $18, you're $20 into it. Then you sell it for 50 or 40, take out your fee, you can still make $17. I mean, you're essentially doubling your money, no?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So that's for the 10. Now, the thing I look at with the 9, can I sell that Greninja Gold Star in a 9 for 15 bucks?
Probably.
Do you think I can list it for $14.99 and sell it for 15 bucks?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I'm gonna lose, $4, $6 from the cost that I'm in it already. And then I pay the fee and I ship it. Sure. So I'm going to lose 10, 12 bucks maybe. Mind you, though, I do this as my business. I always do that because people always say they do this as their business nowadays. So I just think I don't know. I don't try to take it too serious, but I do this as my business, and I'm not a financial advisor or nothing like that. But that cost of grading, that's a write-off, So shipping cost of grading, and you pay taxes on things you gain on, not things you lose on. So when you lose on something, like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm willing to take that risk to possibly make double my money or lose $10, and then it is what it is. And watch.
Well, yeah, but I mean, let's say, your business, or you're doing this with, 10, 20, 50 cards, whatever it may be. If, on average, more of those are going to get 9s than 10s. So if you're losing more than you're gaining, I mean, even if you're making exponential gains in the 10s, the majority of the 9s could offset that. And you're really almost spinning your wheels at that point, don't you think?
Now, like I said, that goes back to, taking a chance. Like you said, you're saying if majority of stuff get 9s, right?
Well, if more than half, I mean, just on average,
right? No. So from my experience, like I told you, I pre-grade everything. If I look at the Greninja Gold Star, I told you I didn't send any. I have probably like 15 Greninja Gold Stars. That's it. I don't have a lot.
Okay.
I have 15 Greninja Gold Stars. I looked at all of them. Almost every single one of them had a white nick in the corner, had a print line, had a scratch or something. If it had that, I don't send it. I pre-grade stuff very harshly. So I don't send stuff unless I'm absolutely sure, like from my experience of grading, that it has a very strong shot at getting a 10. So like for recent subs of modern stuff that I've sent off with like alt arts and stuff, I mean, I've hit 85, 90% 10s. That's just because I'm very harsh on centering. I'm very harsh on things to look for. Like I know to look for indents. I know to look for, lifts on like the edges or whatever. If, PSA docs for certain stuff like that. Like the sub, like it's funny, whenever everyone was going crazy over Moonbreon, right? Umbreon, they're like, oh, it's selling for $750. This is just insane. When people were talking about it on YouTube, I had just sold mine for $750.
Right.
Like I pulled, like I told you, I opened up
product. Yeah, being first to market is definitely gonna, be in your favor, obviously.
Right. But I'm saying, even though that card's still selling for 600, I opened that card from a case. I also bought Evolving Skies, before the boom of whatever you want to call them, boom or whatever. Like I was buying Evolving Skies, cheap. So
if you go on like eBay, like completed listings, not sold though, like just completed, and you can just type in Pokemon PSA or Pokemon CGC.
Yep.
There's, hundreds, thousands of cards that end with no bids at like, $15 and $20 right now.
Yeah, sure.
And so, I mean, don't you think that's worrisome, like going forward?
So another, I don't want to say pro tip, but another tip for me, because I've sold on eBay for a long time, I don't list anything for auction. I never auction anything. Everything I list is buy now, right?
I get that, but I mean, you could just say the same thing. If you listed at those prices, buy it now, just keep recycling, getting renewed, but it still wouldn't be selling. Like it would be sitting in people's inventories forever. Like, so it's like the same question. Like, you don't think there's anything alarming about that? We're already there. Like now we're going to have this $18 grading tier. You don't think that's just going to make that situation worse?
It also depends on what cards you're saying are sitting there. Cause like alt arts are selling, yeah. There's amazing rares that are selling. I'm not even sending amazing rares. I don't even think that's worth. Amazing rares aren't worth it at $18 in my opinion. Like the things I'm saying that I'm sending at $18 are like the Radiant Charizard Blastoise Venusaur, the Celebrations Charizard Blastoise Venusaur, the Umbreon from Celebrations, the alt arts, like stuff like that is the stuff I'm sending modern wise. And I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, whenever things are auctioned and there's stuff that's not selling. But from my experience, I'm patient and things eventually sell. And also, I don't mind it sitting. Like, I'm not like freaking out, about a card not selling, instantly. Or if I list it and it has to, like, bro, I've had some items that I list, they sit on eBay for 5 months. Like for instance, I listed recently a guaranteed shadowless blister, base set shadowless blister, right? Mind you, we're getting into ventures when I say this, but I listed that. And that set for 5 months, and the person who actually bought it had zero feedback, and it actually turned out, and it was great. Like it didn't nothing bad happened from it. But I'm saying, like, there's times when things are gonna, like, the one of the things I tell people that in the hobby that I think they need to like learn is patience. That's one of the biggest things. I think patience.
How do you guarantee a blister?
You talking about shadowless?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was a guaranteed heavy.
No, guaranteed shadowless.
Guaranteed shadowless. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So for
saying like guaranteed heavy blister. I'm like, how?
No. So I actually did get messages from people, and I don't respond to them. They're like, "Hey, can you weigh the blister and send me a picture of the weight?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I don't do that."
There's people that say you can. I mean, I've had a good amount of blisters of vintage. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen a big correlation.
I don't personally. I don't think you can. For like I said, from my experience, yeah. Have I weighed blisters? Yes. Do I think it works? No, because where also the thing that you think about, all the cardboard, all the glue on the the blister, those things weigh into things. Also, where are those packs being pulled from, right? Because whenever you weigh packs out of a booster box, those are coming from a booster box that is usually guaranteed 12 hollows. So when you pull out, you're going to have probably 12 heavy packs. So where are those packs for single blisters coming from when they were manufactured? They're not, I don't feel like they were in that same line of, production line for booster boxes, because booster boxes, they pretty much guarantee pools. I feel like that's why I like. Now with blisters though, like people say, a lot of people like blisters because the reason why people like blisters is because you can pretty much guarantee that they're not weighed. Right. So, and like Batchy said, I don't know if you probably know this, but just to answer, just in case, if that's what you were asking too, the way to guarantee, well, not even, I don't want to say guarantee, but almost guarantee a blister being, almost way to guarantee a shadowless, blister being shadowless though, is the crimps at the top. The crimps at the top are long crimped. If you go on eBay, there's plenty of base set blisters that are listed that are short crimp, and people say they're shadowless, which they have potential to be. Doesn't mean they're going to be. Majority of the time, they're probably not going to be. But if they're long crimped, then it's more than likely that they are. It's the same way with like the boxes too. Like if it doesn't have the Wizards logo and it's a one country code, then it's probably shadowless, you know, like along those lines with green wings and all that stuff. It's just like little variants of being, you know, in the hobby, seeing these little details and understanding them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember finding out all that stuff back in the day. It's there's so many nuances.
That's something else too, bro. Is like, I think a lot of people, like, I feel like I told you, like I commented in one of your videos before too about this, is I feel like a lot of people need to do their research. Like a lot of people need to do a good amount of research. I feel like there's like you said, like it's so easy for someone to be able to go and buy something, right, and not think about it. Like, and you say that you target the average collector, or the average person who might not have as much time, might not have an hour, might not have 2 hours to, you know, dive into stuff and see what things are selling for and stuff like that. You know, so you say that, you know, someone can go and just buy something and put it away. It's very simple. But, you know, that can also be bad that they're not doing a little bit of research or even, you know.
Yeah, I mean, not so much like not go and check what things are selling for, but just, I mean, you know, the time it takes to, when you're wanting to grade cards, right? You have to first figure out where you're going to source the cards from, you know, try to find the best prices. Then you have to try and look at, like you said, what the 9s and 10s are going for, add in all the costs, you know, kind of getting a good perspective of what those prices are going to be in the future when the pop reports rise. Like, there's just a lot more that goes into it. Then trying just kind of source all those cards, trying to, you know, find auctions, trying to, you know, win those auctions, or trying to message people and work deals for multiple quantity of stuff. And there's a lot that goes into it. Whereas, you know, you can spend a little bit researching prices, go check things and get a reasonable low price and put it away. So, you know, I mean, it's not that they don't do any, regular people can't do any research. It's just, you know, when you get into the grading and everything and sourcing cards, it is a lot more time that goes into it.
No, I definitely don't disagree with that for sure. I agree with you 100%. Now, one thing too that you brought up before about modern, so like you said that you like the Pikachu V boxes. I think you said you like them, right? That you think that they were a good price.
They're a good price.
Okay, so when you say that you think they're a good price, does that also mean that you think because they're at such a low price that they have potential? Is what you're like? That's what I get, right? That you have the potential.
Yeah, you know, just and also the packs inside. I mean, I think just as, you know, regular, you know, attrition in the future as the sets rise. Sure. I think even if the boxes don't like see a crazy growth, you can always just rip the boxes and sell the packs individually. And I mean, there's not a lot of risk getting in a 4-pack box with a promo for like $11, $12, $13 a box.
See, and that's how I feel. There's not a lot of risks grading a card and it grading a 9. That's how I feel about that, just in that aspect. But because what I was going to get to about asking that is that, so instead of spending, if you buy a case, what a case comes with 6, right? I don't know. I think it's 6 Pikachu. So you can get a case, you know, what, $80 maybe, $70 bucks.
Like $72, $78. Yeah.
Right. So these are things that I think about with modern. So for instance, I don't own any of those. So for modern as well, I'm very strategic or picky, I guess you could say, about the sets and things that I buy. Like, I understand the video you made. You were like, oh, look, Sharpedo EX box. That's $100 now. And no one wanted those at one point. You know, there's this box that was $25. No one wanted those at one point. And now it's this. Yeah, sure. I agree with you.
You remember that though? Those Gengar EX, boxes, they were just falling off the shelves at Walmart. Bro, and now people are willing to pay that for them. It's just crazy.
Gengar EX, Flygon EX, Absol EX, Tyranitar EX.
Those trio tins, the Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard EX trio tins, those were everywhere.
Those were on sale at GameStop, I think.
$14.99.
I think it was 10. It was a Black Friday deal. SM Pratt's talked about it before. But so what I'm saying, like, I think that's a good buy though, the Blastoise, Venus, like, because those are the trios, obviously you understand that. But I think there's also I'm not sure because I haven't opened that product in a while, but I think there's an Evolutions pack in it. I'm not sure though.
There might be 2.
Okay, see, so and that's another reason why obviously it went up in value too.
Well, yeah, but I even did that in that video you were talking about. Is I went through and showed what packs were inside and also what the promo was going for near mint.
Right.
And nowhere near, like, I think every packs in the promo were worth like $50 and the tins were going for 100 a piece. So it's nowhere near what the stuff inside is worth. The sealed product gains the value.
Right. Well, that's where me and you were talking about before, that over time, that's something else that maybe people who are new to investing or new to buying sealed product, that over time, the contents inside don't matter as much as time stretches, because like we said, the sealed product and the card value always detach from each other, because over time, more of that stuff starts, like you said, natural nutrition. People go back and open the product. So over time, there's less of that stuff. So of course, having a sealed item of that is going to be worth more than having the single cards, because there's all like I love when people said you can always turn sealed product into singles. You can't turn singles into sealed product. So it goes to that. But what I was going to say about the Pikachu V box, about me being strategic. So look, obviously the premium EVs, right? Everyone knew that was going to be a good buy, probably. Just like, I feel like, I know you say that no one said that, but I feel like everyone knew that UPCs was a good buy.
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, if you go back, you can listen to a lot of people's videos. And when they were like 225, a lot of people were saying not to get them. Like, this is way too far over retail, wait for more. Like, you don't want to, this is a brand new product. You don't want to pay that much over retail. Like, a lot of people were not happy with them when they were 200 to 225. So I think everyone agreed when if you could find them at retail, it's a no brainer, but I don't think everyone was in agreement when they were at 225.
See, and you say that because what's crazy is, I'll tell you, I bought some at 250.
Yeah.
So just saying in general, like the thing is that, like you said, that's why another thing that I told you about with like people like nowadays, like how YouTube is, I guess, sexy or whatever you want to call it. Like, there's so many content creators out there that are trying to tell people what to buy and what is a good buy, versus the own individual doing their own research and being in the market. So me being in the market and, doing this for a certain amount of time, you look at the fundamentals, you look at history, you look at things that have, gone on. And if you've been in the hobby, you know that a UPC is a good buy. Like, those are the first metal cards that, Pokemon's probably going to follow up with more, but it's a Charizard Pikachu reprint, and then you got the celebration packs. Like, it's, I don't like you said, at retail, sure, it's a no brainer, but in my opinion, even, 125, 150, 175, 200, like, those were still good buys. It might even be still a good buy now. Who knows? Like, with the future,
I know it's dropped a bunch lately. So
no, they probably have, but that's another thing that people, you can't hone in on these little sections of the market when things go up and things go down, because that's what markets do, right? Markets are always constantly going up and down. They're always in motion. Like, something can boom and then it can drop, and then that next boom can be bigger than the first boom.
Right.
Like, you just never know. Like Evolving Skies, for instance, I know that, not Evolving Skies, Roaring Skies. I don't know if this is a good example, but obviously I played Pokemon too. So playability wise, when Shaman was in the format, it was very popular. Those boxes, I think, got up to like maybe $200 or $300 at one point. Right. And then
they were close to, I think I remember being around 2, but yeah.
Yeah. So then the reprint came, and then it destroyed them, right? I think they dropped as low as like 70.
The 70s, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I remember Rudy making a video about how he was like, I can't even sell these to my patrons for $69.99 shipped. Like, no one wants this, so I'm just gonna throw it in my bathroom, which is what he did. And look at look at Roaring Skies now. Roaring Skies is, what is it, 300 maybe? I don't even know what they're at now. But like I said, like, it went up.
Skies, yeah, they're probably close to 4 at this point.
So like, you can't always you can't lead or think with your emotions when it comes to investing. You also can't look at what everyone else is buying. You can't compare your collection to everyone else. You can't compare, because he can buy 30 UPCs. Is it good for you to buy one? Yeah, you should still buy one. You should still buy two. Don't compare like what you're doing versus what someone else is doing, or, what people are telling you what is good or not. Because, for instance, like I said, the EVs, the EV premium collections, I'd rather own more of those than even having any Pikachu boxes, which is, like I'm saying. So like, when I said like being strategic, instead of buying a case of Pikachu, I could possibly have bought, I found multiple EVs at retail for 40. And if you have a distributor, you could have got them for less, obviously. But I'm saying I found multiple EVs in Target and Walmart when it released at 40. Like, I found multiple Jolteon, all that. So I'd rather buy those all day than rather buying the Pikachu. And maybe in the long run, the Pikachu ROI percentage, maybe it does outperform it. Who knows? Like, But
I mean, kind of brings me to the next question though. Is like, so for you, doing this full time, you can say you're a business, quote unquote, whatever you want to say. But you buy and sell Pokemon cards full time. What makes the majority of your income? I mean, is it basically just grading and selling? And then what are you doing, with your money? You basically just, using all your cash flow to keep, buying singles, grading, flipping, or do you, put money into investing in things and put them away long-term type thing? So, how do you structure kind of your Pokemon collection investment these days?
So like I told you before that, I worked my job at a high-end restaurant for 7 years, and I saved up a lot of money, and I was also buying a lot of stuff. And like, granted, I got into Pokemon at a great time. Like, I got in when you could find gold stars all the time. I got in when you could find shinings all the time. I got in when you could buy collections from people. I got in when me and you were talking about booster boxes being, 800, being 1,000, like unlimited jungle was 400, like tons of stuff that, I got in at an awesome time. Right. And the thing is, though, is I built up so much inventory. So like Dan said, catch 'em all collectibles before, is that before he made his decision to quit his job, which is same with me, I made sure I had a big safety net of if this doesn't work out. And also, I'm not scared of it not working out. So I would say, like, a lot of my stuff, yes, comes from inventory that I have and from grading, which is why I'm so big on grading, because
I get it. But like now though, like what are you doing now? Like
I mean,
I understand you're stable and everything from your
right.
inventory, but like your cash flow, where does it go now? Is it just constantly, put into singles and grading, or do you also, buy sealed or buy whatever it is and put into a collection or a long-term investment?
So if you're, in my opinion, if you're doing this as a business, you should be doing everything. You should be buying raw. You should be buying sealed. You should be buying anything that comes up with a good deal. So it's something that I always say, that if you look, a lot of businesses, they always say, I'm always buying and I'm always selling, right? During the hype, I was selling. I was also buying. I wasn't buying, PSA 9 Charizard when it was 75K. I'm not doing that, but was I buying cards that I thought were under, like I told you, I bought the EX Delta species. Like, I was buying EX cards for cheap. Like, I bought the EX Delta Gardevoir from Dragon Frontiers off Trolling Toad, by the way. Trolling Toad condition, everybody knows, they make that meme or they make that joke. Oh, it's Trolling Toad near mint. Yes, Trolling Toad near mint is pretty bad majority of the time. But in the instance that it does come through, I graded that card. It got a 10. I sold that card for $2,000.
Yeah.
From $44.99 to $2,000. So like hitting on things where people aren't looking at the time. You got to look for certain stuff like that. So like you asked, like, I'm buying modern, I'm keeping it sealed. I'm buying modern singles. I'm buying vintage singles. I'm buying anything that I can find that I can make a deal on, honestly, that I can make money on. Because when you're doing it as a business, like, you got to keep income coming. And also, I'm not as far stretched out as some people. Like, some people literally put all their money into, like they literally take their cash flow and just keep dumping and keep dumping. Like me, I'm more conservative. Like I said, I try to be more strategic about certain things. So I wait for the right opportunity on a lot of things. Now, maybe that could be bad, maybe that could be good. But I mean, I could sell modern product that I have now, but I also want to hold that stuff. I feel like modern product for me is also a safety net. Kind of, I don't want to say like it's like a savings, but like, you buy modern product and you put it up. I mean, that just sits there and it could gain over time. But yeah, like you asked, like how I'm getting my income. I mean, like I told you, also I do sports too. Like, I don't do a ton of sports, but I also made a lot of money, with sports. Like, I bought, sports. So for sports is a little bit different with Pokemon. I did buy sports cards before like the boom, and I actually bought those graded. So I don't know how much you keep up with basketball, but I bought. So I know this is not Pokemon Red. I'm just saying, like, I bought a Giannis Antetokounmpo PSA 10 rookie from 2013. I paid 1,500 for that card. I sold that card for 4,500. And I did that with a lot of other stuff. I did that with a Luka Doncic. I did that with, Fernando Tatis, like a Patrick Mahomes. Like, I did that with a lot of stuff. So my thought of that was, I'm going to take all this profit and money that I'm making from sports and dump it back into Pokemon and just keep buying, vintage stuff. And look, I am not one to like sugarcoat, there is definitely not the same opportunities there were back in the day. Like, to find vintage, You know, to say I'm buying singles and vintage and stuff like that, there's not someone in the hobby, bro, that is literally buying every single day like used to. Like I used to buy maybe 4 to 5 or 6, 7 items a day on eBay. And I'm talking about good stuff like gold stars, shinings, hollows, all kind of stuff. So
I want to get into that side in a second. Let me give a shout out to a couple people. So Pokey Grinding sent a 99-cent cheer in. Appreciate it, man. He's always here, always showing support. And then Lil Lonzo YouTube. I see the grind. Keep up the good content. Yo, really appreciate the 9.99 super chat. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate that. With that being said, yeah. So as far as, you know, you're talking about like there's not as many deals and stuff. So where are you primarily like purchasing through? Is it still eBay? Or are you really, you know, utilizing all the, you know, kind of secondary auction sites like the PWCC, the Gold and the Heritage? Or is it Facebook groups? Is it like where are you utilizing the most of your purchases at these points?
So I would say if people are actually like trying to grind and, you know, trying to get, you know, I guess their capital like to like level it up or whatever, I would say you have to look around everywhere, bro. Like you have to look at eBay, you have to look at TCG Player, you have to look at Troll and Toad, you have to look at OfferUp, you have to look locally, you have to look at Facebook Marketplace.
You don't mess with like the auction sites.
Personally, I don't, because like I told you, I don't buy graded cards really, because people who are selling graded cards, more than likely that card has already like at, you know, at a price, you know, it's the price is already baked in, you know what I'm saying? Like when you buy raw and grade, there's that price where you can make money. If you buy graded, you have to hope that or believe that card's gonna grow.
Yeah, or catch it at like a weird timed auction where you get under market value.
Under market, right, and then it bounces back and stuff like that. So that, for me, I think that's more risky. I'd rather go and try to buy a raw card, in my opinion. And also buying on eBay, I've been buying on eBay for a long time. Like even recently, bro, I bought a Brilliant Stars Charizard, not the alt art, the shining. I mean, not the shining, the hyper rare, rainbow rare, whatever people want to call it. I bought it off of eBay, right? It came in, it had a huge dent in it. And I asked the guy before I bought to send me a picture of the back so I could see the centering, obviously, because like I said in one of your videos, that majority of the time, the issue with newer cards are centering. So if the card has good centering, more than likely it has a good shot at a 10 if it has good centering. Minus, obviously, dents or stuff that you can't really see maybe in pictures. But he sent me a picture of the back. I didn't see the dent. It didn't look like it. It looked good. He sent it to me. It had a huge dent in it. So what do? All you got to do is open up a case on eBay. You just say, hey, item not as described, and it gets sent back. Like,
well, you know, reach out to the guy first and give him a chance before you open a case up for everyone out there.
Sure. No. Yeah. My bad. I cut that part, but yeah, I did reach out to him. But the thing is, I reached out to him and then he gave me the whole, oh, that wasn't there. I didn't see it. I sent you pictures, you know, but then that goes to like, is he being honest or is he being shady? Did he know that was there and he tried to, you know, pull a fast one? Because it was a newer selling account too. So maybe he didn't see it. Maybe he did overlook it. And what he told me is he was like, oh, I'm not going to honor your return. I don't accept returns. And at that point, you know, you have no point but to open up a case. And then you have to contact eBay. So,
you know, some other you know, big sellers, I guess there's stores out there right now, are kind of putting it out there that sales are slowing and, you know, things aren't moving off the shelves and things aren't selling. So how do you, I know how I feel about it. I don't really, you know, again, I'm not a store, so I don't like to talk on it as much. I don't do this full time, so I don't like to talk on it. The way I feel is from everything I see, things are still moving pretty well. They're priced well. So you tell me what you think about all that.
I agree with you 100%, bro. Like, bro, to me, like you said in one of your videos, I agree with you, is that when people are like, oh, booster boxes aren't selling. Oh, this isn't selling. Well, you walk into their store and you're like, how much is your booster box? Oh, they're $139.99. Oh, they're $129.99. Hold on, wait. Let me go on eBay. Flipside Gaming, not plugging them, but Flipside Gaming, Pete, they got them for $99.99, and you're trying to sell them for $129. Like, I get it. You're a store. you have overhead, you have employees to pay. You know, it's hard. It is absolutely tough to be a brick and mortar, 100%.
I get the small premium, like to have it in your hands that day. You want to open it, like maybe like, you know, if it's 99, maybe for 109, but like some of these stores, like you said, are $20-$30 more. And it's just like, at that point, of course, it's not going to sell.
Exactly. So then that boils down to, is it that the product isn't selling, or is that you aren't looking at the market and, you know, being fair on your, you know, maybe that is a fair price based off your margins and what you need to make. But like I said, I'm not a store, so like I don't have an overhead and stuff like that. So like I understand from that aspect, but
or the people who talk about Target, like, oh, there's boxes all over Targets now. It's like, well, yeah, but they're all, you know, 40, 45, 50, 55, whatever in ETB, where those same ETBs are online for 35 and 40. It's like that's why they're not selling. It's not that it's not popular, that people are just smarter consumers.
Yep. I mean, I went into Target recently, and we all know that, you know, Shining, what was it? Shining Fates got a huge whatever restock or reprint or whatever the hell that was. But I mean, you see a ton of those, and you can go and find those cheaper. Also, Pokemon Go. I've seen Pokemon Go ETBs actually as low as I think 35. Not in store, but like, have you seen that? You haven't seen 35? Oh,
no.
Yeah. Let me see. I want to
that's crazy low.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. Let me check.
Yeah, man. It's like I said, I mean, I guess everyone is gonna have a different opinion for whatever, you know, kind of store or whatever they have set up in the hobby, where if you have like a local game shop and you're a physical location and you have to take a bunch of allocation of a bunch of different products, you might have a different outlook on how things are selling. But then like I talk to someone like you, or what I see is that things are still selling relatively well if they're priced, you know, competitively, and, you know, you have things that people want. So I don't know. I think it's been a little blown out of proportion on things not selling, or the, you know, market is cooling off and no one wants modern product anymore. From what I see, it's not the case.
No, I totally disagree. I definitely think that people still want modern product. People still love opening. People are still excited about everything that Pokemon's doing. Like someone mentioned, I don't know if it was you or someone else's live, because I watch a lot of people's lives, but we haven't even got to shining alt arts yet. Right. So like what happens when they start doing alt arts that are shiny Pokemon? Like that's going to be like the next concept, probably. Like, I mean, bro, Pokemon can do so much and like constantly keep us, you know, engaged and constantly making us want more. And I mean, at the end of the year, we got the new era coming, you know, Violet and Scarlet. So that's going to be interesting.
So go back a little bit. We didn't really get into it much. So, you know, you kind of talked about what you're, you know, always buying, always selling, you know, you like putting modern product away, but do you have like a, I guess, personal collection or like a long-term investment, like stuff that you hold? Do you have any of that stuff, or are you always moving that type of stuff just in and out?
No, I mean, I have a personal collection. It's not as big as what it used to be, because I sold a good amount of stuff in 2018 to buy my house. I actually sold part of my collection to buy my house. So, I mean, I sold.
Oof.
I know, but
just missed it.
I know, but the thing that, like, I think about it now, it's all relative, right? Like,
yeah, the house went up too. Yeah,
right, exactly. The house went up, and then on top of that, like, I couldn't live inside a PSA slab, right? I can't live in a PSA slab, so I needed somewhere to live. And if I would have been paying rent, oh my God, it would have been even worse. And then what if I would have waited to buy a house, and then the houses increased, and then I'm paying more for houses now? Like, so it all worked out in my opinion. But I mean, I sold Gold Star Charizard. I had Gold Star Pikachu 10. These are all 10s I'm naming. Umbreon 10 Gold Star, Crystal Lugia, Ho-Ho from Skyridge. I had two Skyridge Charizard 10s at one point, two base set Charizard 10s at one point, unlimited, not first edition or shadowless. I had the Legendary Collection Reverse Firework PSA 10 at one point. Like, I sold a ton of stuff. Blanche Charizard first edition, Dark Charizard first edition PSA 10, tons. And these are all stuff I graded myself. Mind you, this is back in the age where you can get raw cards and they weren't all graded yet. And, you know, grading wasn't as popular, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, yeah, I still have a personal collection. I have my Skyridge Charizard that I told you I pulled on live with Cool Trainer Ryan. I have a Crystal Celebi. So that's another thing, that me and Ryan's friendship is I would say like it's really, really a good friendship because obviously everyone knows Ryan's favorite Pokemon is Celebi, right? I told him my goal at one point was to get every crystal, and it was at in a 10 at one point. And he actually found a raw Celebi, and he told me, "Hey, I'm gonna grade it. If it grades a 10, I'll sell it to you at the raw price that I bought it
Isn't
for."
that the card he has like 50 of?
No, no, that's Gold Star.
Oh, okay.
Crystal Celebi is from Skyridge. So yeah, so it's a different one.
I
But
got it mixed up. I got you.
you're good. No, no, the Gold Star one is the one that he has like 50 of. Yeah, that's insane. I actually gave him a 8.5 Gold Star Celebi that I had for his birthday. So he probably still has that. But um anyways, he found a Skyridge Celebi raw. He told me that he was going to grade it. If it grades a 10, he would sell it to me for the raw price that he bought it for. It graded a 10, and he sold it to me for the raw price. So I still have that card. I told you I have the base set trio in a 10, Blastoise, Charizard, Venusaur, and the Charizard I bought for $50 back in the day graded it a 10. That's why I don't want to sell that. The two other ones, Blastoise, Venusaur, I bought those for $200 each back in the day. I have a complete shadowless set graded. All the non-hollows are PSA 10. All the hollows are PSA 9. And I bought a chunk of my non-hollow PSA 10s from PokeRev back in the day when shadowless PSA 10s were like $25, maybe $20 each. So I bought a chunk of those from him. I have some sealed boxes.
I remember those days.
I mean, you weren't looking at probably grading like that. You were buying a lot of raw. I mean, not raw. You're buying a lot of sealed stuff and stuff. Yeah, exactly. So, I have some sealed boxes. I have a ton of sealed blisters. I actually have 3 legendary collection blisters. I have 3 guaranteed shadowless blisters. I have a sealed collection. I mean, I have a personal collection, but
okay.
I mean, that's another thing too that gets like sticky when you're doing this as a business. It's like you can't be a collector and a business at the same time. It's very tough because those are things you could be selling and then using that money to buy more stuff and stuff like that. So like Dan was saying, when he pulled that Charizard on the stream where all of them were on it, people were like, "Oh, you're gonna pull it and keep it." And Dan was like, if it grades a 10, I'm gonna have a very hard time, keeping it because that's a $10,000 card. Like,
it's how you set up everything. It's like, well, am I buying this stuff for my collection out of my personal account, or am I buying out of my business where I can actually use it as inventory so I can write it off? And it gets all sticky that way. It's like, you can say I'm going to buy it for my personal, but then I'm buying with my personal money, so I don't get any tax benefits to buy it, right? So no, it can get really sticky that way.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like when you do it,
tax advice, not financial advice.
Yeah, you have to be very organized, definitely when it comes to that too. So, I mean, yeah, I have a seal collection. I have a personal collection. I also have stuff that I'm always selling. I mean, I think I have over 400 things listed on eBay right now. But back to that $18 thing, that's another thing is I sold a lot of my PSA stuff that I graded back, when it was $10 stuff. So at $18, I was like, man, this is a perfect opportunity to get more inventory. Old school Pokemon Nick brought it up. He said he's like super depleted and super low on graded cards because he sold a lot of stuff. So, and mind you, PSA was, what did they reopen at? 400 at one point, then it was like 200, then it was 150, then it's 100, then it's 50. Like, to send all these other cards, it wasn't worth it at 50. It wasn't worth it at those higher prices. And now, as soon as I get an opportunity for 18, and who knows, right? Like, we can't tell the future. The reason why I said also that you should grade at 18 is because when are they going to introduce a lower tier? When are they going to introduce a lower price? Who knows? What if they do this and it takes them 6, 7, 8 months to introduce another lower price? Are you comfortable sitting on those cards, like raw value? Because think about it. If you're sitting on those and then it comes, that time and you need that money, do you want to sell those cards raw? No, because you're not seeing the full potential, because the full potential is if you grade them and they get 10s or 9s.
So what about the other side of this conversation?
What's that?
What about the buying of the slabs?
What do you mean? Like,
so about like, you like grading and selling them. So what about like holding on to slabs or buying slabs as investments or long-term collection pieces or,
I mean, I think it can work. I mean, it's definitely possible. I told you I collected my two favorite Pokemon are Arcanine and Blastoise. Arcanine, I bought tons of those in tins. Like I bought the Aquapolis Arcanine, I bought the Blaine's Arcanine from Gym Challenge, I bought the Skyridge Arcanine, Light Arcanine from Neo Destiny. Like I bought a lot of those cards in PSA 10, but when they all went up in price, it was to a point where I was just like, I love Arcanine, but I need to sell these. And I bought those, like this is just an example of saying when I bought graded cards, I bought that Blaine's Arcanine for $200, and I think that card went up to maybe like 1,000 or 1,500 at one point. And I was like, I'm comfortable selling. So buying graded cards, it can 100% work. Now, the correct graded cards is a different question. Like people buying modern cards, are you asking me if buying an Umbreon PSA 10, a Moonbreon is a good investment? I don't know. Like, I don't know if that card can go higher. I don't know if it can get to 1,000. I don't know if it's going to go. I mean, more than likely, if I had to guess that would Morn come back to the market, sure, it's going to drop. But I think that card will always have a floor, just like a lot of other cards have. Like, I think the floor for that card, in my opinion, could be like 350, 300. But who knows, right? We don't know how many alt arts and stuff like that was printed. We don't know how many are going to get tens. It just all depends. And we don't know how many people are going to be willing to sell them. That's another thing. Just because the pop report says there's so many cards, how many people are selling those at that time? That's another thing that people got to look on eBay. Whenever I go to sell something on eBay, I always look at what the lowest listed is. I always look how many are available at the time. If you're the only one, you can kind of set your own price. Like, unless someone else starts listing and then you got to, compete with them. So like for me, that's another thing. That's why I don't have a problem with selling stuff, because I try to be fair about stuff. I look at what things are selling for, and I also look at lowest listing. So when I go list something, if you say not, I don't know if it's a bad thing or not, but if you have a card listed for 60, right? And I want my card to sell, I'm gonna go list my card for $54.99.
I get it.
I'm okay. I'm okay, not making that $5 extra to get a sell. So that's what it boils down to, back to what you were asking about people saying things aren't selling. Well, are things not selling because you haven't updated your listings? Are things not selling because you're not checking what fair market price is? There's some people, bro, who haven't changed their prices since the hype. Like you go and you see some of these cards and they're listed astronomically higher than what they've been selling for. And it's like, well, of course, you're not going to be able to sell, first edition Charizard when it's auctioning for 17K at 30K. Like it's just not possible. And it sucks. Like even during the hype, bro, I had people have buyer's remorse. I didn't tell you this when we were talking about it, but you said, people messaging and stuff. I had someone buy a PSA 7 base set Charizard from me during the hype, right? They paid $1,100 for that card, a PSA 7. He immediately messaged me like after he received it and was like, hey, I see some other ones like a PSA 8 listed around the same price. Is there any way I can return this card? And I'm like, I mean, not really. I'm not sure how that works with eBay because I've never like dealt with that specifically, but that's technically buyer's remorse. And I don't think that's covered under eBay's guarantee, money back guarantee. So that's another thing. Like I said, it goes back to doing research and going back to like understanding, like a PSA base set Charizard, bro, and how many are there. Like,
I mean, in my opinion, it sucks on either side, but like, seller's remorse during the boom, kind of, equal that out. I mean, I had stuff that I was buying like kind of the beginning to like start of the boom. And there was some stuff that I bought, either won the item or just bought it, was buy it now. And then the seller just canceled my order and relisted it higher, right. Just stuff like that to where sure. Stuff was moving so fast. So I think it happens on both sides, right? Like when you get caught on the way down, buyers are upset, but then on the way up,
they're happy.
The buyers are upset because they can't get it. So the sellers, are upset. So it's it equals each other out, I think.
Yeah, that's something that Rudy talks about from Alpha Investments, how whenever a set comes out, how there's a pre-order price. Like say, for instance, if he was selling Evolving Skies, right? And Evolving Skies was selling for 100 at pre-release and he sold them for 100 and then they went up to 150, all the people who bought them would be happy. But if you bought at 100 and they dropped to 85 or 75 or something, then everyone's pissed off.
Right.
Like it just goes either way. Of course, no one wants to lose money, and people are always trying to make money, but I mean, if you're at like also like if you're asking me like about like sealed, versus buying graded cards, personally, I think I would probably rather buy sealed.
Mhm.
I think sealed is a safer investment in my opinion. Like unless you're gonna grade the card raw and grade it yourself, then
Always the best way.
I think yeah, that's always the best way. I think personally is buying sealed is better. Like I mean, I would be trying to buy sealed over buying, unless you're a set collector, unless you like the certain Pokemon, or unless you just really want the card. I mean, that's why I said it all boils down to like, what are you trying to accomplish? What are your goals? Are you collecting, because you like the Pokemon? Are you collecting to make money? Is it a little bit of both? Then you just like, I mean, like you said, you're super bullish on modern product, and that's really where you're putting a lot of your money. I mean, you said that you sold pretty much all your stuff, all of it during the height, right? So
Yeah, but we talked about before stream though, is I'm also in the process of trying to complete the first edition base set.
right.
So it's like where I'm buying slabs that way. So I mean, it's not that like I don't kind of like you said, I don't think all slabs are bad. I just think you
Sure.
just like kind of do that calculation in your head of like, well, how much of this raw is out there? How much of it has already been graded? How attainable is it on the market on a regular day-to-day basis? And then like what your plan is your plan to like try to buy in this and flip it in 6 months or a year, or is your plan like looking 20 something years down the road where you think these things are going to be high-end collectors items, they're all going to be sold through high-end auction houses, and it's kind of like trying to position yourself with each different line of products in each different way to like you said with like the modern cards. Well, if I can just grade a bunch of these and I can get a lot of tens, I can still make a good amount of profit. I can double my money with a lot of the slabs when you grade them. That's a lot different game than buying a high-end slab and holding it for years.
It's a no, it's a big difference. That's I mean, like you said, that it's just it's a huge difference. And the thing that I think that really messed the hobby up, in my opinion, with the boom, is that people got too used to these unrealistic gains, like these 100, 200, 300% gains, when in all reality, a lot of people who were buying before that were thinking of this in a 5-year, 10-year thing anyways. Like even you've said it before, like you were buying sealed boxes, right, of Watsy and stuff like that. You didn't expect it to boom like it did in 2 years or 3 years. You were probably thinking more of long term, maybe 5, 10 years, right? Maybe even longer than that.
Longer. The only thing I was ever selling is the lots and things I was buying to flip and sell. Like like everyone did. You buy a bunch of lots, you take out the cards you want, you grade them, you try to get the rest back on the market and make your money back. And then as the profits would build up, I would buy a box, or I'd buy some blister packs, or I'd buy some Watsy theme decks. I'd like buy the collection pieces I wanted to hold, but
Yep.
I was never at least buying things, in terms of like, oh, this is going to be worth this much in 6 months. I didn't care. Like I'm looking at like way too long to even think about right now. And nowadays, I think no matter what anyone buys, they're getting on eBay every single day. Like, oh man, it's down $5. It's like $5. Why do you care? It's down 10% in these 3 months. It's like, oh, it's too crazy. Unless you're trying to do what you do, like legitimately, run a business and make money each month, day after day. I don't know why there shouldn't be these time frames that are so short in my mind.
See, and that goes back to what I was saying about how you're like, when people hone in on little small sectors of the market, because remember, markets, like we said, are always going up and down. When you're like, oh, something went down $5, like they're literally checking it every day, or like you're checking it every month. Like, bro, don't even. That's why I said. That's why I feel like the boom really messed up. We have to rewire our thinking again. We need to go back to thinking long term more than short term. If something works out short term, great, and you want to take advantage of the gains, do it. But
I know Dan's in the chat. So hey, Dan, not comparing this to the stock market, okay? But it's kind of like your 401k statement or something. Like you get that like once every quarter, right? So you're not getting on every day looking at your 401k like, oh, down another $100. Oh yeah, I'm up $200. Like you're not doing that with like your investment portfolio. So why do we do this in Pokemon? Like, why are we going into our closet or our whatever we store our stuff every day and going through the clipboard? Like, okay, this is up $2. This is down 50 cents. Like, it's just, maybe do it more like every quarter, every half a year. Like, try to get your mind frame out a little bit on these things.
I'm definitely not doing that, bro. That just would be in my opinion, just a waste of time, because as quick as you go in there and you're like, oh, it's up $10, the next week it could be back down to $10.
Yeah, some auction ends at like 4 a.m. or something, and it doesn't go high.
And also see, that's another thing too. Like when you mention auctions, like in my opinion, just from when I sell, I don't base my prices usually off of auctions either, bro. Because in my opinion, auctions tend to always go for less than what the value is of the item usually. And on top of that, I feel like auctions are all about time, when it ends, engagement, how many people have the funds that month to bid on that item.
The titles and pictures,
the titles, the pictures, like there's a ton of things that go into auctions that can make an auction either successful or it can make it really bad. And sure, you could take an opportunity of the really bad ones, but at the same time, I feel like the safest way, and Ryan taught me that, is that always list for buy now, because what's going to happen is if someone wants something, if I list something for $100 and it's sold at 80 or 75, someone will message me and say, hey, this item recently sold for $85. Will you take 85? So like, I don't have to have that worry of, oh no, my auction's only at $20 and there's only 30 minutes left. Is it going to make it to the $85 mark that I want it to be? And then you got your people who are, very scummy, I guess. And they're calling up, their buddies or whoever. And they're like, hey, can you go place a bid on this?
You'll bid it up.
Can you still bid it up and make sure that this item doesn't do this? It's like, look, we don't have the same last name and we don't live in the same state, so it'll look legit. I promise. Just go ahead and put it in. It's like, bro, I mean, I've seen it all, bro, especially like with the raffles and all that stuff that used to go on it. Like, that's another thing that people don't really see anymore, bro, is a lot of the raffles like that went on back in the day. And also just a lot of the stuff that I feel like a lot of people don't see, like, that are out there. Like there's a lot of scummy stuff that actually does go on, bro, believe it or not, especially in the higher end market too.
Well, hey, so Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles, he wanted to know where does GymHero sell those raw cards that aren't gradable? eBay, TCG Player, you just keep them?
So it depends. I usually sell on eBay. I know Dan said he has like a trolling toad, and we all know trolling toad near mint. A trolling toad near mint can be not near mint, but I mean, it just depends. I know it's more time consuming to go through and list your cards as MP, HP, and then on eBay you got to provide pictures of the scratches and the corners and stuff like that. But I mean, for me, yeah, I would sell on eBay. But truthfully, bro, I try not to sell a lot of stuff raw. Like I try to. If I have to sell it raw, it's because, I don't think it's going to grade high. Anything that's going to grade 7 or higher, I'm not going to sell raw more than likely. Like I'm usually going to try to take it. I'm usually going to try to take advantage of when PSA drops a lower price. Like for instance, $18. Sure, I'm sending 700 plus cards. And I know Dan had a live the other day and Dan was going through a lot of his, and he originally thought he was only going to get to maybe 500 or 200, I think. And now I think he's talking like he could potentially go over 1,000, and he doesn't want to get to that, he said, because he doesn't want to have to fill out the form and all that. But I mean, bro, at $18, a lot of plays come in your mind with vintage and modern. Honestly, like people, like I just think that there's a lot of potential there, even if people aren't taking advantage of it. It's just something to think about, and I don't know.
Hey, I left it in the chat, but anyone who's got questions out there, just leave questions in the chat and we'll cover them. I want to touch on Echo Base's kind of point he was making about slabs, is because the reason we even have grading in general is basically his point, is that slabs were created so that we could all agree on the value on the grade or the condition of that card, right? Yep, so when you say near mint, some people are like, oh, well, this is near mint to me. Well, that's near mint to me. Where one might be a 7, one might be like an 8 or a 9, and they're I guess they're both mint near mint, but completely different. So that's all a third party does, is take that guesswork out and say, this is a 9, so it's a 9 to you, it's a 9 to him, it's a 9 to someone in Germany. And so that's the main thing with grading. I know grading just got so blown out of proportion, and now everyone just grades cards, and it's so like, I don't know, the values are so tied to each individual grade and each individual card, but that's really just the main concept of grading, is just to give a grade, a value, a condition to a card, so that when you're trading it between collectors or between investors, between sellers and buyers, that everyone knows exactly what they're getting. And it takes out kind of like your situation where you said, I bought a card, it said near mint, I got it, it had a dent on it. Like, well, a grading company would have already picked that up and it wouldn't have happened. So that's the point of grading, right?
That's the tough part too about selling raw cards, and why people don't do it on eBay is because everyone's condition guidelines are different. Like if you look at Troll and Toad's guidelines, they're different from another company's guidelines. If you look at, this guy's eBay listings, their near mint is different from this guy's. Like near mint is, interpreted different. Lightly played is interpreted a different way. So like you said, grading companies, the reason is it takes away all that, and it says, hey, this is a third party company and this is the grade and this is what it is. There's no arguing over it. Now, then you can look deeper into it and saying, well, this is a week 9, this is a week 10, blah, blah, blah. Sure. And, PSA is not perfect. BGS isn't perfect. CGC is not perfect. What blows me actually, which I thought was interesting because I don't buy CGC cards and I never graded with CGC, but I recently found this out because I was watching Dan's live. CGC will grade a card a CGC 8 or a 8.5, even if there's a dent, which is mind-boggling to me because if you grade with PSA and a card has a dent in it, then it's a 6 or a 5 guaranteed, regardless of how near mint the card is or mint the card is. But CGC, if the card is centered well, if it has good corners and it has good edges, it could still get an 8 or 8.5. And to me, damage is damage. So it just depends on how you look at it. Yeah, I just think that's crazy to me.
It's like, I guess, what would they put the surface at then? So, I mean, even if you said they put the surface at a 6 because it's dented, right?
Right.
They shouldn't be able to get over a 7 in their grading terms, right? Because they can't go over a point over what the lowest thing is, right?
So that's the thing, though. This is the thing that Dan said too. Like PSA and there's like PSA standards of grading and CGC standards of grading. They're just different standards and different guidelines. So they, I guess, grade things differently, which I just think it's crazy because then that opens the door for people to buy cards that have a dent in it, but are still technically in good condition. But the only issue is a dent. They can grade it into a CGC and get an 8, 8.5. And then people are going to be paying a premium for an 8 or 8.5, but the card has a dent.
That's scary.
And then what happens if you buy the 8, 8.5 thinking it's super clean and you couldn't see the dent, and then you crack it and then it has that dent? Then what? Then you definitely lost money. And then, at the end of the day, you're just like, well, I guess I got to send it back to CGC and get an 8 or 8.5 again. But see, that's the, like, I get Dan likes the slab optimization thing. And like, he tries to optimize before he sells and stuff like that. But that specifically thing right there, that just gets, and that things like that is what I could feel can really deter or hurt new collectors because they get into it and that stuff like that happens to them. And they find that out, and then, that could hurt them, and like that can deter them from collecting or even wanting to continue in the hobby. Even during the hype, a lot of people jumped in and bought stuff overvalued and they lost a lot of money, which is why a lot of people left the hobby. I mean, maybe you could make a case that they shouldn't have been in the hobby in the first place, but because they didn't, do the research and all that stuff, their due diligence. But at the end of the day, you want people to have good experiences regardless all around, right? You want people to have a good experience when they open product. You want people to have a good experience when they buy. You want them to make money.
I say it all the time that like there's a part of me, even though I made a lot of money, like there's a part of me that wishes the boom never happened.
Sure.
Like, there's a part of me that wishes it would just been the same as always. Like, some booms and busts. Like there's a boom with Pokemon Go and evolutions back in the day, but like nothing like we saw with the whole Logan Paul thing. So I almost wish we just kept moving up like that, because then no one would have got super hurt. There wouldn't have been so much animosity towards people. It's just, it kind of screwed a lot of stuff up, even though the people that were in, made out very well. It definitely got a lot of people hurt buying in at those prices. Whereas if you'd have bought in any other time, like 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, you never really got too hurt. Like there were downturns, but you didn't get crushed.
Yeah, you didn't get crushed.
Buy a card for 5,000 or 6,000, and then now it's worth 1,000. Like
yeah, you didn't lose 75%. You didn't lose 50%. No, for sure. And also, like, I agree with you. There's a part because like if that didn't happen, right? If the boom didn't happen, then maybe a lot of this stuff where people jumped in and a lot of people who came in the space wouldn't have been buying up all these collections and all this stuff. So stuff might have not dried up as fast. So then there would have still been opportunities for people that were in the market at the time. Cause I know there's tons of people who came in, and they had the money. So if you come in and you got the capital, bro, you could buy anything you want. You could buy the boxes, you could buy this. And there's also a part of me that wishes that, breaking was never a thing. I don't know if this isn't bad to say, but I hate Whatnot. I hate Whatnot, bro. I think that's bad for the community, in my opinion. Like the breaking and doing all that, like I'm just not a fan of that. And actually, people probably don't know breaking culture came from sports. Like if you actually follow sports, people were box breaking sports cards way before they were box breaking Pokemon. Like because there's
It's always happened. I'm sure
there,
Magic, did it too.
there's a high end set that was called National. It still comes out. It's called National Treasures. It's like the highest, one of the highest end sets for sports every year. Like those boxes, now are super expensive, but they were like a couple $1,000s. You get like eight or seven cards in them. All of them are autographed and stuff like that with patches and stuff. But you're spending $7,000, $8,000, whatever. People aren't just paying that to open up 9 cards. So what they did is they broke it down by teams. So then you're buying teams for certain spots because in sports, there's 32 teams or 30 teams in a league where you could say, hey, the Tampa Bay Lightning are worth, $1,000. You got to pay $1,000. Every Lightning card that's pulled, you get their card. Or it's based off, the rookies coming in and stuff like that. So like there's people who have done that with Pokemon. They're like, okay, here's all the energies, right? You got sidekick, you got, fighting, you got
right.
You buy the spot of those, and then that's the cards you get. So if, for instance, if you bought into Brilliant Stars, you would want to buy the fire type because then if Charizard gets pulled, you get all the Charizards. So like there's things that go on like that. And I'm just like, and then when people were buying boxes and they're like, Neo Genesis and they're trying to sell packs, 1,500, or like even when like they did like the openings and they had ninja signed cards and all this stuff, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of none of that. I don't know how you feel about none of that, but
I'm completely removed from the sports market. I mean,
not sports. I'm talking about like just box breaking in general, like within our hobby.
I'm indifferent. I don't hate it. I'm not like I've never participated in anything of it.
I don't participate obviously either, but
I mean, obviously, I think it helps the overall sales of Pokemon. I mean, I think there's a certain percentage of people that watch a PokeRev or a Leonhardt or Unlisted Leaf for a real breaking video, and they go out and buy a box of that stuff or an ETB of that day because they want to open it themselves. And so I mean, I think it helps, but people definitely overpay, and I guess you get, that side argues because you're kind of getting that limelight, like your name gets called out, you get to kind of on screen. So I get like there's a form of value there that
and entertainment, whatever you want. I just think it's
like they do what they want to do. I'm not going to do it. Like I don't hate on them, but I guess I'm not going to say like it's the greatest thing ever.
No, yeah, I'm definitely I'm not hating. Like if you can do it and you can do it successfully and make your money, like cool. PokeRev has made basically a whole YouTube channel from that. Like he started breaking vintage boxes. Like, and what's crazy is that PokeRev's never cracked any personal stuff. That's none of his personal stuff. That's all stuff he's bought off market to do. Like he still has his whole personal collection that he doesn't touch. So, but Nick has also been in the hobby. I mean, bro, Nick was buying in the hobby a long time too. Like it's crazy.
Do you so Michael Wolf wants to know do you think PSA grading will continue to go down or stay where it's at?
I mean, I can definitely see it going down to possibly 15. I know Dan's talked about maybe it getting down to 12, but if you're asking me, I don't think that's anytime soon. Like it depends on what you consider soon too. Like some people would say a year is soon. For me, a year is a long time because I need inventory. I want to have PSA graded cards to be able to sell. So for me, waiting for a card, for prices to come down from 18 to 15 or to 12 for a year, is that really worth it for me? No, because in my opinion, if I'm going to grade a card at 10 or even 12, I'm going to grade that same card at 18 because that's only a $6 difference, right? Is that $6 difference making a big deal? And I think you and a couple other people talked about how you got to pay insurance for the insurance ship back. You got to pay to ship it. Right. Okay. Now I'll use my own example. I just shipped out 500 plus cards on the first thing I sent out, right? I sent out 500 plus.
Yeah, I get it.
No, I'm saying I sent out 500 plus cards, right? Mm-hmm. And the shipping on that, because I'm not as comfortable with the post office as some people might be, I overnight and I insure mine. So I had to spend $200 for that package. Granted, I'm sending 500 plus cards though, so that's less than $1 a card that I'm paying to make sure it gets there instantly. And insured shipping back for me from PSA is only like $120. So, I mean, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it adds like $1 more on everything, and it's
Yeah,
not
if you
that
create a large amount for sure.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But I mean, can I see the price going down? Like back to this question, sure, I could see the price going down, especially like with PSA wanting, that market, like they want that piece of the pie. Like they don't want CGC getting, they don't want them getting submissions. They don't want BGS getting submissions. So like if PSA is at the lowest price and they're the most recognizable and for me the most reputable in my opinion, then I mean it's a no-brainer to send with PSA at a lower price and not send with the other company. So I mean I could definitely see the price going down though in the future.
I would guess by next year it could go down. I mean, I think this is going to give them a huge influx again and like put that backlog back up because a lot of people are selling at this price. So I don't know if I would say there's going to be another price, decrease by the end of this year, but I think next year, no doubt they're going to.
What do you think? 15?
10 to 15, yeah, like 12 to 15. I mean, it's not going under 10. I mean, I would be so surprised if it ever went under 10 again.
Me too.
Maybe it goes to like 12 to 15, and then they have like those collector club specials at 10, possibly something like that. I don't know.
So the way I think about it, I don't think my opinion, I don't think outside of, like you said, collector specials or quarterly specials, I don't think it goes under 15 because we don't know if the cost of the plastic that they use to slab the stuff has went up. The labor, the logistics, all that stuff, with the economy and everything, how it is, and how stuff, we don't know if those prices have went up. It's not, bro, we're in 2022. It's not 2017. Like to grade a card at $7, it's not realistic anymore. So for me, I could see the lowest being 15 outside of quarterly specials and
could be
stuff like that. But we'll see. I could be wrong also. I mean, bro, that's another thing that people need to understand. It's okay to be wrong. It is okay to be wrong. You could say that you think something's going to happen and be wrong about it. But if you do that with 100 things, right, and you can hit 70% and be 70% correct, or even 60% correct, are you not out on top over what you've been wrong about? And it also depends on the plays and stuff that you make on like your ROI and stuff like that. Like, I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's too many people that are scared to be wrong. And sometimes you just gotta take a chance, man. You can be wrong, you can be right.
So Hollow Seeker wants to know your thoughts on, or I guess both our thoughts on any other grading companies besides the big three. I'm guessing he's saying CGC, Beckett, and PSA. What do you think of anyone outside of this?
Right? I don't want to. I mean, you want to be blunt? Trash. Yeah, I wouldn't say trash, but don't. I would not grade with them. Like a lot of people talked about. The reason why a lot of these companies were able to get in is because PSA shut down, Beckett shut down. Like these companies, these are the big dogs, right? That's like if Walmart and Target shut down, right? Boom, they shut down. So now you have to go to these other, shopping centers and you have to go to these other grocery stores to get your stuff. But as soon as Target and Walmart open back up, the consumer is going to go back to Walmart and Target. It's just that simple. And these smaller companies aren't going to be able to compete with PSA at the prices. Like if PSA is grading cards for $15, like are these other grading companies going to be able to grade stuff at $15? And then is your card also
Echo Base Collectibles? He said he's asking, do you think CGC lowering back to sub 10 to compete?
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if they do lower that, but then also it's always in my mind that I've always graded with PSA, right? So in my opinion, I've never graded with CGC, so I can't speak on how they do things, but just looking at things and how they sell, a PSA card always usually holds higher value than a CGC card in certain grades, which is why you have people like Dan and you have people like Radar and you have other people who are buying CGC 8s and 8.5s, cracking them to try to get PSA 9s because they know that there's potential to make more money there with a card being graded by PSA rather than being CGC. So It's up to you. I think a lot of people took CGC and graded with them because it was convenient. They could get that in. They could get, a CGC 8 or 8.5, and then they can move inventory. Like a lot of people were doing that because they needed inventory and they needed to keep moving inventory and keep money coming in. Like
that's been my biggest complaint, my biggest criticism of CGC is I feel like it's an inventory game. It's a flipping game. Like I don't personally know anyone. And anyone in chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know anyone putting together like CGC collections.
Yeah.
Like how I was talking about, I'm wanting to put together like a first edition base, PSA collection. Like I don't know anyone that's collecting CGC like collections or like whole hollow. I don't know anyone collecting them. They're just basically trying to speculate on CGC and either flip them or crack them into PSA or grade the raws and get the grades back and flip those on the market. Like I don't know anyone who's actively collecting a CGC collection. Do you?
I don't personally. I know that there's people who collect CGC cards because CGC does the thing on the back where it's like whatever, like inadvertent release or miscut or whatever. Like they grade how they do the crazy gradings of like discolored cards or stuff like that. Like my friend Min, the guy that I'm real cool with, he has a CGC. He has a Haunter from a modern set. I don't know what modern set. It's on his. I would have to ask him what set it's from, but it's from a modern set. It's a Haunter, right? But the complete top part of the Haunter is completely white, and the bottom part is all purple, like if the card was normal. So like that whole part of the card literally missed its printing, ink, and all that. So like he sent it into CGC, they graded it, and like I feel like people grade a lot of errors and stuff like that with CGC because they recognize it and they got people. I think at one point Charlie was involved in some way with CGC. I could be wrong, but I think it was. So he was like,
I think it was him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he was like advising them on like, hey, this is an era. And Charlie's even been on Pawn Stars recently that I seen, and he was trying to sell that era to Chum Lee. So like that's why I think CGC is popular because of that. Like not popular, but because that's why people are sending with CGC or would collect with CGC because of those niche things. Now, outside of that, set collecting, I mean, it's got to be PSA. I mean, look at Jim Mint. Jim Mint has, a huge PSA collection. Like I have a PSA set. You're going for a PSA first edition set. Like I feel like people who are completing sets or trying to get stuff like that are it's going with PSA. Now, if you like CGC because of their cases and it's clear and you like their thing better than PSA, that's a whole different debate. I mean, a lot of people don't like PSA's cases. I hate Beckett's cases because I think they're too bulky. I don't like the bulkiness of them.
So Wrath of Zapdos asks, so about the turnaround times? I'm guessing he's talking about PSA. So
the turnaround times are
that's my biggest issue. Like everyone's always talking about the prices. I want to get back to the old days where it was like a month to 2 months turnaround time.
Right. Now that the turnaround times are going to be atrocious, especially with all the people sending. I mean, like you said, this is going to create a backlog. But my opinion, I'm thinking PSA is trying to gauge how much interest there is at $18. If they
you said your order got scanned in immediately.
Yeah, it got scanned in immediately.
That wasn't normal during the boom.
Yeah. So I sent out my five. So there's another thing too. Like I said, I don't trust the shipping companies like that because I don't want my cards to get lost. So I break my submissions up. I sent 500 cards in one. I expressed it on Monday. It got there Tuesday. They scanned it in. I sent my next order Tuesday, shipped it out. They scanned it in. Now, mind you, I don't know if you've sent with PSA recently, but this has been around for a little bit, but they have the barcode now. So when you print out your label and your PSA sheet, they give you a barcode that you put on the side of the boxes. You don't write on the box. Yeah, you don't write on the boxes anymore where you're like 15-day turnaround or 50.
When did that start?
It's been a while. I mean, it was during the boom for sure. That
was probably 2020.
I mean, I think that was around in 2020 or 2021, but it's just a little label that you put on the side. It's like a barcode thing. So when it comes in, they probably have a scanner, boop, it scans and it goes into their system that way. And then they put it wherever they put it. So it makes it a lot more flowing.
I remember it was like you'd send it there, it would show delivered, but they wouldn't scan it in for weeks.
I mean, that's possible for sure. I mean, back in the day, I remember that happening. You would just have to check your tracking number to see if it would say like we received it. Yeah. But that is why they put that barcode thing. Is so now, like, if you look like on the bar of the status in PSA, it says arrived. Like that's what it says.
Yeah. Jay Pokemon UK. How do you guys feel about the Lost Origins partial set list released on Poke Beach? Sword and Shield going out with a bang or a whimper?
I mean, it's probably going to be a pretty good set. I mean, I wouldn't say it's going to be bad. What's his name? Pokemart, right? What do you know what his actual name is? I don't know. My bad. Eli. That's what it is. Eli. He made a live about that the other day, and people were asking him about that a lot. Pokemon, he's right. I would say Pokemon usually goes out with a bang, on usual sets at the end. So, I mean, if you look at it like Gym Challenge, that was the last set of WotC. Pretty well, not the last set of WotC, but like that bot, like that before E Series. That Gym Challenge, pretty good set. Then you got Expedition Aquapolis, Skyridge. Skyridge was the last set of WotC. Skyridge was a bang. Then you go up, and then you got the E Series. He's right about your series, how he said there's, Power Keepers and then Dragon Frontiers. Power Keepers was a little meh to me, just because obviously there's so much other stuff. And then Dragon Frontiers had, Charizard and stuff. But if you look, the last set usually of all the blocks is actually pretty good.
Is it gonna XY, black and white, all great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, is it gonna be, a top 3? Maybe. I mean, it depends on what's in it. I think the Giratina is cool. I think it really depends on the character cards that they put in, the alt arts and stuff like that. Supposedly, I think the Pikachu and the Charizard got revealed. So I don't know if the Rayquaza VMAX is going to be in there or not, but if these character cards in there, sure. I mean, it could be a 3. I mean, you could be looking at the 3 sets, not in any order. Could be Brilliant Stars, Evolving Skies, and then that. So
I haven't paid any attention at all. So yeah, just take everything GymHero just said, because I haven't paid attention at all to that set yet.
I mean, bro, you'll obviously it's so early to tell. Like, we're just making our best guess.
Dan, catch my collectibles. I don't expect my $18 subs back in 150 days, like they say. 9 months is more likely. Yeah. No, anyone out there grading for the first time during this, just understand those turnaround times. Unless they have it all fixed, that's just like kind of like a maybe, like a minimum, like,
it's an estimate. It's an estimate.
Longer. Yeah.
Yep. It's more than likely not going to happen. 150 days would, like, when I've discussed with other people, it puts it at like December, January time. I mean, realistically, if that happened, I would be, through the roof. But I mean, it could also be February next year. It could be April. It could be March. Who knows? I mean, I waited over a year for all the subs that I sent off during the boom. So it just all depends, man. You get lucky, you cannot. It just depends.
Your average player actually said Rock Pokemon has a CGC collection. All right. There are people out there.
Hey, I mean, bro,
Base says it too. There are CGC 10 collectors out there. So yeah, I get the CGC 10, I guess. It's kind of on that level of the Beckett 10s. I get it. Like, people are kind of speculating the CGC 10 is gonna, be better than the PSA 10s. I get that, just because of the subgrades and all that. But yeah, that's the only thing that really makes sense to me about it, I guess.
See, and my opinion is, me personally, I don't put a premium on stuff like that. Like, I know that a lot of people do, but me, I don't. Like, a CGC perfect or pristine or whatever. And then you got Beckett Black Label and stuff. Like, obviously, like, the difference of cards, though, like, if you look at a Beckett Black Label and then you look at a Beckett Pristine, like, the 0.5 difference is so minimal. Like, I just don't understand how you look at it and tell. Like, for me, if a card is a 10, as a card is a 10, like, I don't know. I understand that there's a big premium for Black Labels, and bro, I feel very bad for people. Like, if anybody in the chat has bought these, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna say, if you bought any Black Label Modern cards, yeah, I feel bad, bro.
If you graded any and sold them, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. If you actually got a buyer, congratulations, because there's people who rush when there's a new Charizard to get a Black Label Charizard and try to, get 10, 20x their value. But if you're talking about buying that as like speculating on it, I don't know, bro.
Hey, send your buddy with the Haunter Echo Base collectibles way. He's looking for it.
Yeah, he's not selling it. And if he was, I don't want to say you couldn't afford it, but he would be asking a.
I'll bet he might be able to afford it.
No. Like, the price that my buddy would want is just retarded, bro. I've already asked him. Like, I was like, what would require you to sell this card? And he said like something stupid. And I'm like, bro, no one's gonna pay you that. And he's like, well, yeah, that's the point, because I'm never going to sell it. So he also has some weird, I don't know if you've seen them, the Shining Legends. I think it's Entei and Zoroark, I think it is.
Rainbows.
No, but they're not rainbows. They're the regular what were they? EX cards. They were the regular EX card.
Yes.
But they're you gotta see it. I'll send you a picture of it. But bro, the printing was so messed up on it. It's actually a really cool
Oh,
thing.
where it's not textured?
It's no. The EX aren't textured already. It's just a base EX card.
Oh, GX card? Yeah.
GX, EX, whatever it is. I don't remember, but
Because I've had some evolutions back in the day where the full arts weren't textured all the way. Like half the card.
Breakpoint had non-textured full arts
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah, so Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles, he said my collection these days is mostly raw. You know, he's not collecting the labels, but he's always selling the labels, meaning the graded slabs. So
what did I tell you?
yeah, it's basically the same thing.
That's basically what I said, right? I'm buying raw to be able to grade, and he's selling the grades because I mean he has a whole different like he thinks that it's funny because Dan says that he thinks grading is silly, but he also makes a ton of money off of it. So
I don't know. I mean, you tell me what you think of this. I mean, for me, I just see, I'm trying to like look like, 20, 30 years, like kind of like where comic books or like the, real vintage sports car, like real old collectibles markets are. Mm-hmm. And all the biggest stuff is sold graded, right? And so I'm thinking like, when you go fast forward 20, 30 years, say a PSA 10 first edition, complete 102 of 102 collection, 103 of 102 collection, so let's say it's going for $1 million, $2 million, whatever dollars. I mean, you have to think the other graded cards will go high as well. And as opposed to someone just trying to sell a binder set they say is near mint, right?
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
I just feel like the high end people are always going to want some type of name behind that, whether it be a PSA, CGC, whoever is most trusted at the time. They're always going to want that third party name behind that card and those cards encapsulated to pay those exponential prices, rather than just buying and selling collections, sealed cards here and there. I mean, that's just not what the highest end people go after. Kind of like, I don't think a highest end person is gonna, buy a Superman comic, number one, if it's like, raw and graded, like, oh no, this is gonna grade really high. They're like, yeah, I'm still not paying you what the PSA 10 or 9, whatever, however comic books are graded, what those high grades went for. I'm not gonna pay you that exponential, number.
That's another thing too that, I mean, this isn't really like, and I just thought about this, but when you were talking about like, about grading and stuff, when I buy raw cards too, I always try to buy a raw card regardless of how mint it is. I always try to buy a card and anticipate it as if it would grade a 7 or an 8. So that's how I make sure like I always can make money whenever I grade something, because I try to always buy thinking in that mindset that it's gonna
vintage, right?
Yeah, vintage, not modern. No, yeah, not modern, not modern. No, modern is completely different. I'm always looking for the best center thing for modern, obviously.
The old car shop's in here. Should have been here earlier, man. We were talking all about breakers. We were talking about the whatnot breakers.
No, I mean, bro, like I said, at the end of the day, like I told you, I don't hate on nobody. It's cool, if you want to do it, if you can make money off of it, and it's what you do, awesome. But I'm more talking about like, I don't like when people are buying packs for $1,000 and then they pull absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like you pull a non-hollow trainer. Like obviously it's a gamble. I get it, but like it just feels bad, man. It feels bad for people.
Hey, before the stream, you said did you have some stuff you wanted to ask me? Just anything you wanted to go over?
Oh, well, you asked me about my personal collection and stuff like that. So like you sold all your personal collection, basically, you said. Yes. So basically all you're sitting on is modern product then, right?
Yeah, I mean, other than like just like the stuff in my background, like the complete in box, Game Boy games. I got some slabs, not many. I mean, I like just the stuff I liked. Like when I graded all my stuff, like I had 7 or 8 out of the 10 Shining Legends Shinings. And so I just bought a couple other ones in PSA 10 to have the whole PSA 10 set. I have some slabs from XY, like, I just bought the Silver Dialga to try and grade it, but I have a 9, I want a 10.
That's a hard card to grade, I feel like.
Yeah, really, really small amount, like under less than 50 slabs. It's mostly it's pretty much all modern. I sold every bit of my WotC sealed stuff.
So what is your like plan or your goal? Obviously, you still work because you wouldn't quit your job, obviously. So, like, you just buy modern and put it away, and you're just banking on it going up.
Pretty much. I mean,
Sure.
yeah, just I kind of like the whole SM Pratt video where he made that comment like you'd be better off getting a minimum wage job than investing in Pokemon. It's like, well, that's not really why I invest in anything, right? I'm not investing in a 401k or a Roth IRA or something to replace an income, right? I'm just looking to gain value over time. So when I get cash and all the bills are paid and everything's good, we're putting money into retirement plans and investments. When I have extra money, I'm just looking at things that I think are going to move up over time more than putting cash in the bank. So that's really what I'm looking when I buy things. And then like my time frames, I don't have a time frame. So that's why like I kind of get backlash from people saying I'm not investing because, if something goes up in 3 or 6 months exponentially, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to take the gains. But also, if I have to hold something 2, 3, 5 years, I'm willing to do that as well because I still see better growth in that than other areas. I've talked about it recently too, that lately I haven't been buying a whole lot because there's a lot better opportunities in the stock market right now. A lot of stuff is really beat up. So I have been putting the majority of my money into the stock market, but when all the companies were sky high and the market was at 36,000, the Dow was at 36,000. Yeah, I was buying a lot more Pokemon because I saw a lot more opportunity in Pokemon. So for me, it's just, I'm looking for the best places in my mind where I can put money to grow for the future. Yep. And Pokemon's what I know the best. So, yeah, there could be better opportunities in sports or Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or comics or video games. There definitely could be. I don't know those markets as well. I'm busy. I don't have time to learn them and feel confident put my money there. I did a lot of, like we talked about earlier, I did all the front end research at Pokemon. I mean, I spent all the hours and hours learning everything about, everything I'm putting money into. So I just still feel confident in putting money here. And that's why I still do it. But yeah, I mean, as far as like any on the level of what you do or Dan or anyone, like I'm definitely not, full-time business. I'm definitely not, cycling through hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in this stuff.
I mean, bro, don't I always tell people don't compare me, bro, because I am like I'm a small fish, brother. Like I am a small guy in the ocean. There are major players out there, major players like that. I don't even
found a way to do this full time is successful in my book.
Hey, I appreciate that, but I'm just saying, like, there's definitely people that, and I'm not comparing myself to them. I'm just saying, like, that's why when I tell you I do this as like that's why I do that because I'm like, to me, man, I'm a small guy, bro. I'm a normal guy, bro. And like back to like about some of the stuff when people asked if a lot of us got lucky. I think personally, yeah, I think all of us got lucky in a situation like, I mean, sure. Did I do research? Sure. Did I buy, stuff whenever I believed in it? Sure. Maybe that's not the lucky part, but finding the deals I found, finding the deals at the time I found them, finding the cards, the time that I got into the market, taking advantage of, the highs and lows of things. I just feel like I definitely have built, like, I will never ever be mad at Pokemon or be upset about anything Pokemon related because it's given me so much. And even if, bro, like even if, none of the stuff that I have right now, none of the modern product, none of the, I would, be sad that it doesn't grow in value and stuff. Sure. Because everyone wants their investments to grow. But if it didn't, like, I've made so much money out of this hobby already. I bought a house. Like it's given me such a big foot forward in life that no matter what, I can never be, upset. Because like I said, in some way, I think all of us got lucky in some way. Now I understand that you said, sure, there's a lot of things that you could say that wasn't luck that you did on your part, buying the boxes that you did and stuff like that. Like I said, yeah, sure, I agree with that. But bro, this is Pokemon. This is a child's game. This was never meant to be what it is now. So the fact that it is just insane. And if you sold all your stuff, right, and you took that money and whatever you did with it, I think I remember you saying something about when you sold everything, you like, we're gonna just leave the hobby. You're gonna just wash your hands and yeah, you were gonna wash your hands and be done. but you decided to make a YouTube channel. What made you make a YouTube channel? Just from like you going on YouTube and seeing all these other people talking about, modern isn't this and modern isn't that, or like there's no opportunities. And you're like, well, that's not true, because obviously I can, like, and I have made money on it and there are opportunities to be made. Like,
yeah, I mean, people want to say that the rhetoric wasn't around back then, that, modern is being printed too much. It's never gonna, go up like the vintage stuff has. Like, people can say no one was saying that back then, but people were saying that.
No,
people were saying evolution.
Bro, people, I was just about to say that.
You can't buy Burning Shadows boxes, like Shining Legends. Look, it's in the stores for $40. People were saying that back then too. And I was doing the same thing. I was putting Evolutions cases, Burning Shadows cases, Shining Legends cases of the ETBs and the super premium collections away. And I was doing all that, and it all went up just like everything else. And so, like, when I I didn't really, I guess, like, quote unquote leave, but I sold literally everything. I kept the few things I wanted for my collection that wasn't of too much value. And then I was no longer buying or selling, is what I mean.
Sure.
But I was still staying I still would watch YouTube from time to time. I would still get on E4, like in the morning with my coffee, and look at stuff. And I think it was a combination of, I started to get that itch again. 1, 2, I was hearing all that just complete negativity on modern from like every channel I would watch. Yep. And then 3, the biggest thing that did it for me was the E4 ban. So when I was, it had been getting progressively worse, like over time, when, I would just like, say things that I guess the moderators didn't like, they would take it down. And so now I would just be messaging the moderators, like Pokemon Flying Master and these guys, like, I'd be like, yo, why'd you take that down? There's nothing offensive in that. Like, put it back up. And they'd be like, are you questioning me? Like, almost like, who are you to ask if I'm questioning you? Stop taking down. So then I'd make a new post, take it down, make a new thread. They take my thread down. And then eventually, like, I said something about the Leonhardt thing. I was negative on the Leonhardt thing. And that's what eventually led to my ban. They just banned my account. And when they ban your account on E4, it's like they somehow have a ban through your Wi-Fi. And so you couldn't make a new account. You couldn't log on in any way. And so I couldn't get on anymore. And so that was finally, I'm just like, and not try to get like political with this, but it's almost like the whole like Twitter and stuff, like how they're like shadow banning people, not letting, both sides talk. And I'm just like, This is feeling a lot like just regular live social media. So I'm like, I just got to start a channel just to see if I can get anyone to listen and get some stuff out there. And that's what I did. Luckily it's working pretty well, but it really just started from that. I just felt like people were trying to keep down the other perspective, just because they didn't fit the things that they believed in. That was the biggest reason I started the channel.
Sure. No, see, that's why that's one reason why I can never sell everything I own, bro, because I know if I sell everything I own, I'm gonna want to buy again. I'm gonna want to sell again, bro. Like, I just love that feeling of buying. Bro, if anyone, for instance, has never bought something and sold it for 10x, or if someone's never, bought a raw card and it grades a 10, like those feelings of, when you send a card to PSA and you think it's going to get a 10 and it gets a 10, I mean, bro, like stuff like that feels amazing. And then back to what you were saying, that's why I say, like, you can, like, everything can coexist, bro. Like, I really don't think there needs to be, I'm bullish vintage, I'm bullish modern. We have to eat at different tables. Like, I think everyone can coexist. Like, modern is great, vintage is great. If you want to buy more vintage than modern, cool. If you're more bullish on modern, cool. If you want to play it safe and buy a little bit here and a little bit there, cool. Like, I like when everyone can do what they want and do what they love. Because originally, like I said, this started with me buying Pokemon cards, Gym Challenge specifically cards, because that's what I liked as a kid. And I always bought stuff that I liked. And if you buy what you like, usually it tends to work out. And I think people, like I said, with nowadays, YouTube is sexy. So you got, you got top 10 videos, top 5 videos, worst investments, best set of the year, what's the best sword and shield set. Like, everyone wants these questions. Everyone wants to, ask these questions. Everyone wants to get these answers. And it's like, you can't listen to everything. You can't. It's like you said with the negativity, like, you're going to have people who are negative all the time. Like, look at Rudy from Alpha Investments, for instance, bro. You know how much, negativity and how much stuff he got hit for multiple years about buying sealed product, about, buying PSA 10, reserve list, cards. Like, there's always going to be people who are going to be negative, and there's always going to be people that are positive. And that's why I said it's ultimately up to you to have like this type of vision where you're not looking this way and you're not looking that way. Don't be blind to the fact of both, but just turn, look over here. What's going on over here? Absorb that. Look over here, absorb that. And then come back to yourself and, think, is this the best investment for me? Or is this the best decision for me? Is this the best play for me? Is this the best opportunity? Like, because someone can tell you something. These YouTubers, bro, they don't know everything, bro.
No one does.
No one does.
That's another reason I got back into is I was really surprised at how well Pokemon held up, to be honest with you.
Sure.
Like when I got out during the boom, I'm like, this is gonna be the mother of all crashes. Like I don't know if like 90% of the Pokemon stuff's gonna recover from this. Like there'll probably always be the real old, like first edition base, like the real old stuff, but man, I am still astonished at how well Modern held up. And that's another reason why I have more of a bullish stance, because I've always been more bullish sealed than, slabs. I always had slabs and sealed, but I started out with sealed. I did with what I did better in sealed. A lot of people did a lot better with slabs. I get that. So that's why I'm a little biased because of how I personally did. But just how all of the Modern sealed I sold, it really hasn't dipped as much as I thought. I thought that stuff was just going to get completely pounded, and it didn't. And that's what, when I got back in, I really was like, man, if I would have just been literally buying every single set of Modern sealed without discriminating against any set, just a case, 3 cases of every single set, how well you'd be doing. And so it's like, in my mind, I'm like, well, either this is going to continue to work like it always has, or there's going to be some, weird event that makes it never, happen. I guess it could turn into the 90 sports card thing, but I just don't see Pokemon becoming 90 sports cards, because I just think it's a different time in history. I think we as millennials and then the next generation spend their money differently and value things differently. Yep. And so that's where I get my bullishness from. Like I said, when I got out of the hobby, I just expected a lot bigger crash and a lot bigger. I didn't expect all this Moderns to hold up or continue to rise or continue to have this much money pouring into it. And so I feel really strong about the future of it with how strong it still is.
I mean, that back to what I said earlier in the video about how I'm strategic about what I buy in Modern. Now that's like more of talking about like the boxes and stuff, like the box sets, like Pikachu, premium collection, stuff like that. But like for me, for instance, I think it's good, just my opinion, not financial advice, my opinion, to buy a box or two or whatever you can afford. Me personally, I buy a couple cases of each new set, because at the end of the day, booster boxes over time, over history, has showed that, those are really good. And regardless, like Rudy says, like a lot of people, like Rudy says that he has a fear of missing out more than the fear of losing money. So you not buying a set, like say you bought every set from, Sword and Shield, except we'll just say Brilliant Stars or something, right? And what happens if Brilliant Stars is the one that goes to 1,000 a box?
Me and a friend of mine have this conversation all the time. Like all the debates and things we had on the phone back then in like X and Y and Sun and Moon, like, no, I'm waiting for this. No, I'm going heavy in this. No, I'm not going to buy that one. It's like, we're having all these stupid debates. And realistically, if you would have just bought every one, you probably would have done as good or better than how we did trying to pick the perfect sets. It's so fun.
And seeing that's another thing, back to what I was saying earlier about everyone tries to pick everyone's brain. Everyone's like, hey, what's the best, what's the best purchase? What's the best buy? What's the best set? Like you just said, if you just buy what you like or buy what you thought was good or buy everything that you can afford in your means, then, it is what it is. Like, it's probably going to work out. Like, instead of using all that time to debate whether, Evolutions is, reprinted to the, moon, it's not, or printed to the moon, it's not gonna ever go up. It's not gonna have any value. They've been sitting at $90, $85 a box for 4 years, before the boom or whatever happened. But all that stuff doesn't matter, bro. Like,
I've opened more Evolutions product than any product in Pokemon history.
I hear you.
I knew how much I liked it. I knew how much people liked the base set Charizard artwork. Yeah. I knew eventually the base set 2 were going to be too expensive for people. Like, that's why I bought so much Evolutions. It's like, going through those types of things in your head, it's like, well, if I like this so much, if people I know like this so much, why wouldn't they like this later on? You know, like even right now, like right now, like this today,
Yep.
I would love to go back and open some XY sets. I'd
Sure.
love to go open some Phantom Forces. I'd love to go open. It's like, I'm not going to go spend a couple $1,000s. And
Nope.
I just feel like that continues to happen every era. And that's why I always say I see boxes always getting to 300, 500, because there's always going to be that level where people are still willing to pay to open and have fun, where like $100, $200, $300, like you start to get to that range where maybe people don't want to, but anything almost under $300 at this point, a lot of people can justify, yeah, I'll pay $280 to open a box and have fun. Maybe I'll buy it for a birthday or Christmas or something. But like, you know, that's why I always think prices can rise in those things, because as time goes on, the supply gets lower. People do want to open the stuff. They do want them in their collections, maybe as a sealed piece. And like you said before, you know, there's always less sealed product. There's always more singles. And so that's why I gravitate more to sealed, but I also see the grading. You know, grading cards is still always going to be the most exponential gains you're going to make when you go from raw to graded. I get it.
No, 100%. And I mean, you've definitely expressed that on other videos. So, and I mean, bro, like, I think history just repeats itself too. I mean, a lot of people could say sometimes it doesn't, you know, this and that, when you start getting like real specific. But like you said, like, are there going to be people in the future that are going to look back and say, I want to open up, you know, Fusion Strike? Is there people that are going to be like, I want to open up Chilling Reign and stuff like that? Probably. Is there going to be people that say, I want to open up Evolving Skies? Probably. So it's the same concept, bro. You're just applying it to, you know, a different era. Like you're looking at XY. Like at that time, bro, I remember I didn't want to open Breakpoint. I didn't want to open up Breakthrough because it was just like, ugh. And it was in every 10. It was in everything, every, you know, special, just like Fusion Strike is, just like all these other sets are now. It's in every specialty product. It's in every 10. It's in every new box. Like, yeah, but once that phases out, once we get to the new era, once we get to the next era, like then you start looking back and you start remembering these things, and people are gonna look, bro. Like
Generations was a big one.
Yeah, sure.
Generations was dirt cheap. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that Charizard, I think that Mega Charizard in there was like
$15, maybe $10.
Yeah, I mean, even as a PSA 10, it was not very
expensive. Oh no, it wasn't expensive at all for a while. Yeah, no one cared for sure. No, bro. You know what I bought, and I opened it. I bought it from Toys R Us. The Toys R Us by me actually went out of business, but I bought it there. It was the I don't know what you want to call it. I guess it was like one of the first type of premium collections, but it was generally
premium box. The Mew and Mewtwo.
Yeah, Mew and Mewtwo is the two promos on front. You get like a book, and you get bro. Like I don't even want to look how much that thing is, but I bought that thing at Toys R Us probably for like $80, I think.
I obviously being a seal guy. Back then I bought all the seal stuff. So I had all the 11 mythicals. I had the red and blue collection, all the 4 boxes, had the ETB, had the super premium. I had all the seal collection. And for like, I don't know, year, 2 years, probably 2 years, it sat at nothing. Like they didn't move a bit. And I'm just like, it's like my buddy who he was all in like the slabs or cars. He was buying stuff. And it was rising in value. He's like, yes, I told you you're stupid for buying all that stuff. And all of a sudden when the boom hit, it's like generations saw like a huge increase. I mean,
huge.
He went from like $80 to 800, and it's so it's crazy. It's like that's the same thing that happens today. I mean, people might see, no gain for a year or 2 years, and then all of a sudden you see, 100% gain in a year. And now you're at like 33% for 3 years. So it's like that stuff can happen. And that's why it's hard to always look at stuff like, oh, see, in the last 6 months it's done, or this year it's done nothing. So it was a bad idea. And, same thing happens in like with stocks or, it's like you could hold a company for 5 years and all of a sudden in the 6th year, it blows up and it, 4X's in value. It's just, you have to look at things on a long-term basis if you are looking for investing.
No, I completely agree. And I don't compare because I don't know. I'm not as knowledgeable with like the stocks and, all that stuff. So, but I have looked at some stock things, and like I've seen some stocks, bro, like over 5 years, like say a stock in 2017 was like $300 and now it's worth like $500. Like, yeah, that's a pretty good increase realistically. Like, yeah, that's great from 300 to 500, but like, I don't know. For me, I'm just like, I'd rather put $300 into some Pokemon cards. I don't know. It's probably, we'll see how it works out. That's why I said, like, I don't know enough like about stocks to speak on that and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. I enjoy Pokemon way too much. And I think stocks is boring, just in my opinion.
Gotcha. I know. I get where you're coming from with that. It's just, no, I mean, when everyone like wants to break it down the financials, and like I like talking financials, but at the end of the day, it's like, why is this stuff worth money? Because people like it. And then it always comes down, well, what if enough people don't like it? I get that, but I mean, most of us in the hobby now did not grow up with any of the middle era sets. Like everything from like Gym Challenge to XY something, right? Like that's when the majority of people were in the hobby. But people still like went back and spent all this money and collected, and all these other things shot up. It's like, I just can't see the time in the hobby where there was the most popularity basically right now. And like End of Sun and Moon to Sword and Shield, the most popularity. I can't see this era not being sought after in the future. People wanting to come back and relive these times, or remember like, oh yeah, remember when people were breaking those, or remember the, going to those Collecticons back then, or this and that. Like I want to open that stuff to remind myself of those memories. Like I just can't see that happening. And I can't see there being so much product out there that there's enough boxes for the eternity of our lives. Like I refuse to believe that. Could be wrong.
I mean, I'm in agreement with you on that. And I think that, like you said, like the negativity and stuff like that sells, and like people can make videos about it. So like the 9 point whatever billion that they said that they printed, like the thing that, Rudy's video wasn't like really great of explaining it, but the things that I like that he did bring, to people's attention is that we don't know specifics within that billion, right? That 9 point whatever billion. Like we don't know how many were energy cards. We don't know how many were the V-Star markers. We don't know how many are considered code cards. Like, are they counting just Pokemon, or are they counting every single card that prints their facility, at the facility? So we're not talking
Japanese.
Is it English? Is it Japanese? Is it Korean? Like, is it all these other, languages around the world? Like, are we talking about the promos that go to like GameStop and all that? Are we talking about all the specialty products and stuff? Like, bro, like that billion, that 9 billion or whatever is just, it's a huge number. And then that's not even, we're not even talking, okay, so how many booster boxes then were printed? So that's like back to what you're saying, like, and you said like, when you talk about, people are like sell prices, are slowing and stuff, but then you go back and you look actually on eBay or you look on TCG, bro, like boxes are still selling. Like people are still buying it. And people, like you said, I don't know how true, if someone's buying one box, if they're opening it or not, because, like you said, someone probably buying one box, they're probably not, keeping it sealed, but there are some people who might be. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, they're still buying it, whether they keep it sealed or they open it. And then, like you said, over time, bro, like natural nutrition and just, I just like, I'm very confident in Pokemon, which maybe I'm overconfident, maybe I'm too confident. Like I'm a very safe, like calculated person, but also like I just know what Pokemon's done for me in my life, so I have no reason not to believe in it, in the future.
Well, here's my thing is I like to ask everyone out there, and anyone in the chat who has an opinion on this, leave it, is with this rhetoric that everyone is keeping mountains of sealed product these days. Where are the sales? Where do I find the sales? Like, I get there's people who have distribution that keep sealed product, like they keep cases, but there's only so many people that have distribution. Like, I know it seems like a lot in our like small Pokemon community or small Pokemon investing sphere, but in reality, that's just the amount of people who have distribution is not a ton of people. So it's like, if they're the only ones, where's all the sales? Because like when you look on all the sites, there's very few cases. It's mostly all 1-2 boxes at a time. So it's like, where are all these sealed cases being sold, and where are all the people that are putting them away? Or is everyone just wants to talk big game? Like, oh yeah, I have cases. Oh, I have cases. Everyone has cases. It's like, do they? I mean, where are they all at? Where are they being sold at?
I mean, I would really like you said, I'm interested in like, if we actually ask like the average collector or the person who says that they keep sealed product, honestly, how many cases of a set are you keeping? Because I would say probably average is probably like 1 to 3. Like it's not like 10, it's not 20. Like that. Yeah, if that too, probably. Because I mean, a case could be $600, and a lot of people, like you said, with the times how they are, and with a recession or whatever people want to call it coming, are people really spending 600 plus?
Yeah, and it's a lot easier, like like kind of like what you do, like when you're flipping cards. Like I remember back in the day, it's so easy to spend $600 on a collection when you're going to get that collection, break it down, get a lot of your money back, send them for grading. Back then you get your cards back in like a month, then you get your money back. And it's so much easier to do that. But for someone to put $600 into something and say, okay,
put it on the shelf,
have that 600 for 2 years, for a year, That's a lot harder to do. So
It's
how many
tough.
people are putting $600, $1,200, $1,800 away and not touching it for years and years? I just don't see that happening.
I definitely would say I don't just from what I think. I mean, like I said, me and you could be wrong, but I don't think it's as many as people make it seem. Like people are just like, oh yeah, like you said, there's not people I don't think putting mountains away. Like sure, there might be like a Rudy out there, and there's some silent, people who don't, come out and go on YouTube and say stuff about what they buy and what they do. But I mean, at the end of the day, what's going to happen, right? Say Rudy has all that Chilling Reign stuff that he says he has. He has multiple boxes and cases. I mean, like if Chilling Reign went up in value, Rudy's not going to dump. Like no one who has a significant position doesn't dump stuff when it goes up because they don't want the price to tank. They like slowly drip it out. Like a case here, a case there. Like they're not just going to flood it onto the market. It's just, I mean, bro, at the end of the day, like we don't know, but I definitely don't think it's as much as people claim. I mean, I would be interested in the chat, if people would say if they are collecting sealed modern or, be like, hey, I own, one case of this or two cases. I'm just curious because I mean, that is interesting, bro. If you like start like, obviously it's a small sample, very small sample size, but I mean,
your average player, and he said something in G1T, Landon agreed. Said, I'm sorry, Alex, but silly argument here in EU. We don't buy from those sites because of tax and import charges. So there's a lot of sales you can't track. Like I understand that, but I'd be willing to bet, even in the EU, even though it's different platforms, it's the same ratio, right? I'd be willing to bet that it's still a majority of 1-2 boxes at a time. It's not cases and cases being sold to single people. Like I just think that's the trend we're seeing. And then like Echo Bay said, booster boxes are safe because they're not sold at like big box stores because a lot of people, do go load up on, they try to like play that scalping game and load up on like the collection boxes, ETB. So, I get that. So, I mean, I just find it hard to believe there's enough people waiting years and years with hundreds and thousands of dollars. Because the average people they're not going to do that. Right.
That's a good point that, that Echo makes is that I was saying like, that's why I said I don't, when I say I'm buying modern, I don't, just go buy out and buy, the Pikachu V boxes. Like for me, I told you, I'm gonna buy booster boxes, a case or multiple cases of those before I buy those, unless it's like a really good premium set. In my opinion, I'd rather put my money into booster boxes because, like he said, they're not in big box stores, yada yada yada. And then back to what Average Player said about the overseas thing, like that's something that I brought to your attention before in one of your videos when you were talking about when you sell stuff and stuff. I was just saying like that's why like when you sell, you got to take in effect, where people live because their sales taxes is higher, when they pay fees and all that stuff. So just things about that. But overseas, I have no idea. I don't know overseas sellers. I mean, overseas product is more expensive anyways overseas, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no way to know. We just guess on all statistics. I just try to get an idea from like the things I look at to where the majority of things are happening. And, like I said, I just see the majority of things being smaller orders, smaller size orders. And, I just see a lot of modern products still selling every single day. And that gives me hope. And then as far as like, even like the slab market, the slabs are still selling every single day. Very, very, I mean, every day, anything from 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, like they're still selling every day.
Yeah.
I just think it's the prices are dropping and the people who are, I guess, in their mind, they don't agree with the pricing and that they think it should be higher. They're keeping their prices higher. So they might not be selling. So yeah, their sales are dropping, but I think if you're keeping your prices in line with the market, I mean, I think everything's moving still. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I check, on eBay, like what's selling. And, I check, all I do is type in Pokemon PSA and then I search sold listings and it shows you all the PSA cards that have sold for that day pretty much. And like you said, bro, people are buying 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. And then another thing that no one knows, like someone can be like, oh, prices are coming down. And, how are people making money on these, selling these? You don't know what some of these people's price points are, bro. Like my price point on, a lot of like I bought a collection probably in like 2020 or 2019, something like that, right? It was all non-hollow first edition cards. Neo Destiny, Neo Genesis, Neo Gym Challenge. These are all first edition, pack fresh, common, uncommon, and rares. Not even hollows. I graded all those, at the $10 price point. But I'm saying my price point of all them cards, I worked a deal with that guy and he gave me every card at 50 cent. So like I'm in, those cards at 50 cent. So if I graded them at 10, I can afford to sell that card for, $20 on eBay or $25 on eBay, and I could still make money. So a lot of people, that's another thing I feel like a lot of people overlook. There's a lot of things that people overlook too, like with just like listing like stuff on eBay too. Like when people talk about, oh, this card sold an auction for this, then why did someone go and buy it for this on a buy now? Well, bro, how many people actually go on eBay and check sold listings? There's probably a ton of people that go on eBay and just go lowest listing and they see what the lowest listed is and they're like, okay, so this is probably what it's worth. So they just buy it.
Yeah. That
A lot of it can be dangerous, but I'm saying like you got to take in account like how many people actually do that. And like there's not as many people as you think that, like we said, do research, look at pop reports, look at these things, and like that's why I said
talk about all the time. The majority of buyers they're not watching these channels.
They're not. And that's why I said too, like that's why I said I think people should do their due diligence. I think people should research. I think people should try to learn the space and try to just see what's going on before you just dive in. Like if you're buying it for a gift, or you're buying it because it's your favorite Pokemon, or you don't care, you just want in your collection, that's a different story, obviously. But that's another thing that I'm saying, like we don't take in account how many people are buying it for those reasons. People could be buying cards in booster boxes, like they don't care. Like you can see a booster box sell for 120 on eBay and you're like, well, why did they pay that? Like maybe they seen the listing and they were buying it as a gift, or maybe they seen it and they just want to open it with their kid. They don't really care about the price point because
it's a sponsored listing.
It was a sponsored listing, yeah, because it pops up at the top. They don't know how to filter through eBay, or they don't know how to check lowest listings, or they don't know how to find Pete or Flipside Gaming. Like,
well, the other thing is with slabs and skill product is, we're just so wrapped up in this community and this Pokemon investing side of YouTube and everyone who's really serious about investing in this stuff, that we're so wrapped up that we like we almost like break down everyone's purchases, right? So like we'll see like a Burning Shadows box sell and be like, it's not worth that. There's so many left. Like, why would someone pay $350 for that? Blah, blah, blah. Or we'll see a slab sell. They'd be like, do they even look at the pop report of that? There's this many pop, like this, there's haven't been this many graded yet. They're going to be flooding back from PSA. Why would they pay $150 for that card? Like we break down all these purchases. We're like, that could be some person just, I don't know, living out, working a job, buying stuff for fun, doesn't even watch YouTube, maybe like has completely removed from Pokemon. They just collect on their own. So it's like, you have to get inside the buyer's head when you're looking to be a seller. You can't be worrying about what all other sellers and investors think. You need to be trying to worry about what the buyers are thinking. And so the buyers of this stuff in the future are not the ones here saying, everyone's keeping this stuff sealed. There's going to be way too much. The pop reports are going to be loaded. Like, why is it worth anything? The buyers aren't here, right? The buyers are out there. And like, so we need to be thinking how they think, not how all of us sellers or investors are thinking.
That's another thing that brings me back to the $18 a card grading with PSA. I've sold cards before, for prices where even I'm like, it doesn't make sense, but guess what? People are buying them. So that's why when you say, when it comes back as a 9 or it comes back, and the prices are lower, does it bother you? No, because I've had experiences where, like you said, I'm not in the buyer's head. There's people who buy for multiple different reasons. Like, I think like you said, we overthink it way too much, where we try to analyze every single little step. And it's just like, bro, some people just like Pokemon and they just buy Pokemon. They're not buying to invest. They're not buying to flip. There's people who literally just like Pokemon, bro.
And it's like that in every stage of life. It's not just
this. Yeah, you can
because like with one of my businesses, like landscaping company, it's like, you can go to like a do-it-yourselfer's house, right? And you can bid out like a retaining wall, and you'll say, yeah, $2,000. He'll go, $2,000. The stone costs this. The delivery is this. Like I can do this myself for $400. $2,000. You're just like, okay. Why am I here?
Exactly.
Where someone else might, you say 2,000 too, and they're just like, oh, $2,000. Oh, I don't have to do this. You're gonna order the stone. You're gonna build it all. I'm okay. Here's a check. I don't want to deal with it.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with anything. It's like there's always, it's worth it for some, it's completely not worth it for others. And like someone, like perfect example is grading. So like you may say that's ridiculous to pay that for a PSA 9, I can just go buy this raw, send it in, wait a little bit, get it back, and save 40%. Where someone else can say, yeah, that's not worth it. I'll just pay a little extra.
It's funny. I actually got a message from this guy the other day. This is yesterday, right? They messaged me. I have some Team Rocket Returns reverse PSA 9s listed. And he messaged me for the gold duck, the dark gold duck. And he said, hey, I have it listed at $139.99. He said, hey, are you willing to sell this for $120? I was curious if you would budge on your price, blah, blah, blah. So I went and checked, sold listings immediately, not sold listings, current listings to see what's listed. There's actually a seller that had one listed at $99.99. And this guy's contacting me to try to buy it for $120. So I'm a good person. So I told him, I said, hey, there's another listing, bro, for $9.99, which is probably lower than I'm willing to go. So maybe you should contact that guy and try to buy it. And he was like, well, I contacted him and he never messaged me back. And I was like, well, that's $100 versus, what mine would be like 130. You're saving $30, bro. It's probably better just to wait and see if he, responds to you. His response was, he said, hey, I'm willing to pay a little bit extra because you messaged me and you actually communicated with me and talked to me, then save money. So like, he didn't even care about paying $100. He was willing to pay more money for my card simply because I communicated back with him. And, I was an honest person. I directed him to somewhere else that he could have bought something at a potentially better price. That's like, I thought that was crazy. I'm just like, bro, he's willing to spend more money with me because I was just friendly and communicated with him.
Yeah.
I just think that's fine. And like back to the grading thing too. It's like when I used to buy raw cards all the time, I would just ask myself, like trying to think about it. I'm like, bro, these people must not know grading is a thing. Like you're selling me mint cards that could easily be graded and you could be doing the exact same thing I'm doing, but they don't want to go through the process. They don't want to create a PSA account. They don't want to ship, to PSA. They don't want to wait that time. So,
okay. Well, I mean, I know we're getting like kind of long winded here. We can end it here soon, but I did want to, that brings up a really good point though, about grading. So what about that right now though? Okay. A mint card could be X amount of dollars, right? It, if you grade it and it comes back a 9, that might take 6 to 9 months. You might get it back. And after selling fees, grading costs, all that, there's a possibility you might not even make what you could have made just selling that card mint right now if the market shifts. And so like, you don't think there's those problems right now?
It depends on like, you got to give me an example. Like you got to
during the boom or whatever, if you would have just sold like kind of on the rise up back in 2020, 2021, if you would have just sold a lot of your
raw cards,
fossil, like any of those cards, raw, mint, near mint, you could have got out of those for less than like what, maybe an 8, maybe a 9. I'm not sure about 9s, but like a lot of the graded versions are going for now because the market went up, went down. Now you're finally getting your orders back. And really, so now you had money tied up for over a year. Now it's worth less than what that mint copy would have been worth before you sold. Now you got an 8. And so, there's that dichotomy where it's like, maybe I should kind of get out right now before all the grades come back and now 9s and 8s are washed out. Like, so do you ever think about that?
Again, I mean, yeah, that's a possibility, but it also depends on like the price point and what you negotiate that price at of the near mint card. So like, for instance, I'll tell you for sure, I bought a collection in, pretty much it was in the hype. Like, to be honest, it was pretty much in the hype. I bought a collection. It was from an old lady named Deborah. I found her on Instagram. I'm not Instagram, on eBay, because she sold a first edition fossil box on auction. And I messaged her, and because if someone has like, this is just another like pro tip or whatever. If you're, if someone has a fossil first edition box and they're a legit seller, more than likely they don't only have that item. More than likely, they probably have some type of other item. Like they have some other Pokemon cards. They have maybe binder or something like of that nature. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, do you have other stuff? And she messaged me back and she said, actually, I have a whole complete first edition base set collection. And she said, I also have other stuff. And I was like, okay. I actually was able to get her contact information off of eBay. And we actually FaceTimed, and Deborah is actually a 65 old lady. And the way she had this collection is because when her kids were little, she would go to the Pokemon tournaments with her. And she said every time she would, buy packs for her kids and stuff, her kids would open up the packs and they get to keep their cards. But she would also open up packs herself, and all the cards she pulled, she put in binders for them to save. So she kept all the stuff that she pulled in good condition and put in binders. And then the stuff for her kids, they played with and did whatever. Anyways, I worked a deal with her where I bought her whole collection, and it cost me, I think it was 17,000. Now, a lot of the stuff was in good condition. Like obviously the first edition stuff was pretty meh. Like I'll be honest, the Charizard it graded a 5. I thought it could have graded maybe a 6 or a 7, but I sold that Charizard because I expressed it, and I sold that Charizard for 7,500 in a PSA 5. They're not selling for that, nowhere near that now, right? So I mean, it just depends on, the price point that you pay. Like, honestly, I probably made $20,000 to $25,000 off of just that purchase, bro, because I graded a lot of the stuff. Like, she had first edition Gym Heroes hollows. She had tons of non-hollows. She had multiple of a lot of copies of stuff. Like,
yeah.
So I sold a PSA 5 first edition Blastoise for like 1,500, I think, during the hype. Like,
so my question though would be is, if you would have just right then and there got that collection
and sold it, would I have made the same amount of money?
Yeah, just listed each one. I mean, you think you would have done better, the same, worse?
In my opinion, I don't think I would have did better, because no one would have paid me 7,500 for a raw Charizard being in that condition.
Okay.
Like, not in that time, not in raw condition. And then also with eBay, like I said, like it takes a lot more work whenever a card's not graded. You got to take specific pictures. You got to show damage. You got to show dents. You got to show creases. You got to show scratching. It's a lot more things that go into selling cards raw. So, I mean, it just depends. Like I said, it depends. Sure, it could have worked out, if you sold some stuff, raw versus waiting to grade it. But my experience.
I'm not talking about like on like just I'm not talking on average. I'm just saying like right now in this specific time, like going back to that PSA $18, just got announced, and in 6-9 months we're gonna have this flood. Like right now, do you think that there's gonna be cards in near mint condition that you could sell now for more than or the same than going through 6-9 months of waiting, that those cards are gonna go for if they get those more mid-level grades, 7, 8, something like that?
Are you asking like both vintage and modern?
Well, more vintage. I mean, modern.
Okay, so
vintage, modern's an automatic loss. So
vintage, for instance, vintage. I have a lot of EX reverse cards, like I told you, with the stamp on it from the EX eras. Dan has a lot too. Dan was doing a whole video on sending a lot of that stuff off too. I have a lot of Team Rocket returns. I have a lot of Fire Relief Green. I have a lot of Legend, Legend Maker. I have Hidden Legends, Deoxys. I have tons of that stuff, right? I have DP hollows. Those cards raw and near mint condition. If you're talking about what near mint though, also, are you talking about the standard of a 7 near mint, Trolling Toad near mint? Like that card in a near mint, those only sell for like $10, $5 raw, $15 raw.
And what's a 7 or 8 go for?
A 7 or 8, I have no idea. I'd have to check, but I know that 8s, like I've seen 8s that sell for 40, 50. I've seen 9s, depending on the Pokemon, that sell for more than that. So like, I've always been in the mindset that if it can grade an 8 or higher.
So my point is though, if let's say those fell a little bit by then, and now they're going for 25, 30, it might have made more sense to sell it raw right now after $18 in shipping.
Yeah, but I'm also willing to, but that's the thing though, like I said, a lot of the stuff I'm sending off is in really good condition. Like I told you, I pre-grade a lot.
So well, then you can't compare it to a near mint price. You have to compare it to a price of, listing it mint, showing the real close-up pictures. I mean, those are going to go for a lot more in the market than $5 or $10.
Yeah, but the people who are buying raw cards, why are they buying raw cards usually?
To grade them.
Exactly. So they don't want to pay the premium of a card being mint. They want to try to get it at that 8. Now, what did I tell you whenever I try to buy raw cards? I try to buy raw cards at the 7, 8 price, because that gives you that cushion if that card doesn't grade well. And so like another thing too, like, I don't know. I have to look at when I bought it. I bought it recently, probably in like 2021. early 2021 or late 2020, but I bought a raw Torchic Gold Star for $1,050.
Yeah.
I mean, that, if it did, and what happened is if it grades an 8, the 8s at the time are selling for like, I think it was like 12 or 1300. So after the grading fee and the cost of the card, I was going to lose some money. But if it graded a 9, I was going to make $1,000+. And I was confident in the condition in my like grading. So it graded a 9 and I sold it for 2,600. So I paid 1,000 for it. I sold it for 2,600. The fee for grading was 150. I mean, I made over $1,000.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good circumstance. And by the way, I mean, just full transparency, I agree with you. Like,
I know. I'm not. Yeah, I know. You're just asking me. I know.
Yeah, like devil's advocate type thing. Like,
no, bro. I told you, I'm cool, bro. I'm just, like I said, I'm just straight. I already know, bro. You told me you've graded cards before. You understand that grading. You get like, you're just trying to say the what if, like, if this happens, this happens. If this happens,
I think there's a lot of people right now that are, loading up all these cards at the $18 price tier, and they just think they're going to make out like bandits. Where in the long run, if they don't get those 10s, and these modern cards come back as 8s and 9s.
I mean, bro, but that was true. That was true for the boom when people chucked everything. Like if you chucked everything, right? In my opinion, if you chucked everything and you chuck base set cards, unlimited, or base set shadowless cards, and they graded a 6 or a 5 at $10 a card, did you really make much money? Probably not. If you're selling those now or you sold those before, they didn't even sell for that much even during the hype. Like a PSA 5 and 6, shadowless or base set unlimited card weren't selling for much. Like you didn't really make any money like that, even on that. So like there's always going to be that if I grade it and it grades a certain grade, could I lose money? Yes. But that's why I said I pre-grade and then I try to make sure that I send the best condition of the stuff. And also, I don't know, another like pro tip for people who grade, don't grade your modern cards with your vintage cards. Don't send your modern with your vintage because they're from two completely different eras, completely different print qualities. The grader's going to pull out the cards and he's going to look at the vintage card and then he's going to see, modern cards and his eyes are going to be like, well, this is obviously a way better condition card than this. So your vintage card probably has no shot at grading a 10 if you're grading, it with a modern card. So my like experience, I grade WotC with WotC, EX era with EX era, modern with modern. So all the modern cards I sent, they're all modern together. Like, I'm sending alt arts with the Radiant cards, with all that stuff. I'm not sending alt arts and stuff with WotC because it just doesn't make sense to. I know that's playing the game of, the grader looking at the cards and, their eyes, blah, blah, blah. But
and also, I mean, I don't know anyone PSA. I don't know any inside information, but you'd almost have to think there could be, I don't know, different levels of graders, like different seniority of graders that get stuck with the higher level cards, like the higher tiers. Like
I definitely think they get stuck with the higher tiers. I think they get stuck with the higher tiers, but I mean, I think all the people grading at this $18 range are going to be all like the same level. But I mean, I don't know, bro. Like at the end of the day, there's going to be something you can say about everything. Like there's going to be people who are great cards and people are going to be like, well, this card's slightly off centered. It shouldn't got a 10. Or there's going to be people, this card got a nick. It shouldn't be a 10. Or, this modern card, it's perfect, but it's slightly off centered. It shouldn't have got a 10. Like there's tons of instances where like there's stuff like that. And we know that PSA isn't paying these people a lot of money, bro. They're not paying graders, $50 an hour. Like obviously, and we know that grading is, a third party thing.
If they were, I mean, anyone who's
it's a human grading, bro.
Even anyone who's just like sorted cards. I mean, eventually it almost becomes like a mesmerizing. I mean,
yeah, because you're looking at
you're under a light, under a micro. You're looking at these cards. I mean, eventually you have to like walk away. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing that 8 hours a day for a living. It's hard to do it just by yourself.
Oh, for sure, bro. And also I don't even have a, what is it called? A loop or whatever that people put their cards under to look at the minorest scratches and stuff like that. I don't even do that when I pre-grade, bro. I look at the cards front centering, good. Back centering, good. No nicks, good. No edge wear, good. Is there scratches under light? Some, okay, or none? Okay, cool. And then boom, I just keep it moving, bro. It doesn't, like, I don't know, bro. Like, there's people who get real technical with it. They got a loop and they go into the thing and they check all this. Like, I'm not gonna do that, but I mean, bro, I'm telling you, like, if I showed my like PSA grading, like over the time, I've done very well. Like, and I think I understand, PSA is grading and like what a 8 versus a 9, what's a 10 looks for. And I always, like I said, I always go into it never expecting a 10 because then you're never let down. Because if you go in there thinking this is a for sure 10 and it grades a 9, then yeah, you're going to be disappointed and you're going to be questioning, like, how could PSA not give this a 10? This is a perfect card. But if you go in there with the mindset, okay, I'll take it if it gets a 9 or whatever, vintage wise, I mean, modern, obviously, I'm more bullish on. Like, I'm like, yo, this is a modern card. This is probably a 10. Because I mean, obviously, there's
You
not.
always get the random 6, always.
Oh, for sure. There's definitely some hiccups. No, there's some hiccups where there's like random 6, random 7, for sure. But I mean,
it's so weird. There's always a 6. I feel like there's always a 6 in every order.
I mean, at the end of the day, like that happens, bro. It's like, what are you gonna do about it? I mean, it's not gonna stop me from grading with PSA forever. Like, it's just like, I don't know.
Anyone out there, if you have any last minute questions, we're gonna hop off here soon. Throw them in the chat. We'll try to answer them. Other than that, man, you got any other thing you wanted to hit before we got off? Any other topic?
So I mean, so what are your, like, what is your goal moving forward just in the hobby?
You Pokemon master.
I'm just curious what your goal is, because like you said, I mean, you're collecting modern, you have your YouTube. I mean, how long do you think you're going to be doing YouTube?
I mean, as long as I can, I guess, as long as people want to listen to what I have to say.
What would deter you from, like, what would be like, oh man, my video isn't getting as many views, or I'm not getting as much as engagement, or like what would turn you away to like maybe like derail you or make you start thinking, man, I don't know if I should keep making this because it's, time consuming, or me looking up this information to make the video, or because obviously there's a fun aspect in you making the videos.
Yeah. I think it is those things. I mean, I'm not too like, I'm straight up and honest. So yeah, I mean, if like the views really started dipping, I wasn't getting, no one wanted to, I was starting to lose subscribers daily. And I got to the point where like, just no one cared anymore, then yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be as fun. I mean, I think that's normal. I mean, I think, like I said, I'm not one of those people who like sugarcoat stuff. Like the ones who say like, oh, if everything goes to 0, I'll be okay on Pokemon. Like, no, I'd be really upset. Like, or same thing with YouTube. Like, oh, I'd still do this for fun if no one could listen. It's like, no, I probably wouldn't. Like, let's be honest, Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I'm also realistic too. I mean, I know there's a ceiling kind of on this space. So, I mean, I'm not looking to hit like 1 million subscribers.
I was saying, so what is your goal then?
I don't know. I'm gonna play around with it. Like, I'd like to, try to, do some more entertaining stuff on the channel, less, try to keep still some serious videos, and then kind of make it some more entertaining videos just for fun. Try to.
Do you ever want YouTube to be an income?
Yeah, it'd be great, right?
No, I know it'd be great.
That's
I'm
the
saying,
dream.
like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, for it to be an income. That's what I'm saying. Like, what is your goal though? Because your goal could be like, you say like you do this, for fun because it's, it's cool, you enjoy it. But then there's also that like drive and push that gets you to like wanting to do it as an income. Then there's that drive and push to always keep getting better and better and better.
Yeah. Okay. So I talked about before kind of why I started, like the whole like E4 ban, the whole like I didn't like a lot of the rhetoric being,
that was your motivator.
And so like another motivator I didn't really talk about though was like kind of how we talked about maybe before stream. I can't remember if it was on or before, but how I never was really deep in any type of the community. Like I didn't play the game. I didn't go to like worlds or regionals. I didn't like get real friendly with people in the community. So that was another big thing, is like, man, if I get a channel going, maybe I can get on some lives with people and start to meet people and become friendly. And like, so that was one of my big motivators too, is like kind of get to know people in the community and kind of be able to have conversations and bounce ideas off people to, to help with it. Cause before it was just like me and a buddy of mine, and it was just us two. And we always talk about that. Like, it'd be really nice to be able to bounce ideas off other people in the community and know what they're doing to get other perspectives. So that was another big driver. So I do like that aspect of having the channel, is it gives me, outlet to be able to talk to a lot of different people like you about things. But like going forward, yeah, I mean, it's always been about growth. As far as like other income sources from YouTube, I mean, other than leaving like affiliate links and, maybe whatever ad revenue they choose to give me that month, like it's really not a big money maker.
Sure.
So going forward, I don't really know how. I don't want to like I don't know, like just be like an average, like, oh, I'm gonna make a Patreon and just, try to get some, supporters. Like, I want to do something. If I'm ever doing something to like create an income off this, I want it to be something that actually has value, or actually like solves an issue, or creates something towards some value to someone, where it's not just like the same thing everyone else is doing, because you can just go find a better Patreon or a better place to put your money. Like, so yeah, I mean, obviously, ad revenue could be something if you get real big, but again, don't see that in this. So, yeah, I really don't have any, like, I don't have grand plans. I didn't set out to make a grand plan. I literally just started it from scratch and started throwing videos up. I'm not like great. I don't know how to edit. I don't have like technology background. So,
sure.
But yeah, I mean, I guess if I could get this to, some sort of level where it was some sort of income, and then maybe, get back into kind of what you do, making some sort of income off Pokemon. And maybe even if I wasn't like completely like not doing other jobs, where I could dial back what I do in my other businesses, where it's just more of a side income, to where I could kind of get a bunch of little incomes together, where I could enjoy life a little more and not work as hard.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. So just kind of taking it where it goes. I don't really have a grand vision, unfortunately. I wish I had a better answer for you.
No, you're good. That's like one thing you said about, why I do Pokemon, right? I don't do Pokemon. Like, I didn't quit my job thinking I'm going to be a millionaire. I didn't quit Pokemon. I mean, my job thinking like, oh, this is going to be the best thing ever. Like, I'm going to make tons of money. Like, no, one of the driving factors of me doing Pokemon is freedom, bro. I don't answer nobody. I don't have a boss to call me. I don't have, managers that are saying, hey, you need to go do this. Hey, we need you to come in on these days. This is your schedule. This is your 5-day schedule. You have to be here at these times. Like, I have freedom of waking up and doing what I want to do, getting done what I need to get done. Like, I make my own decisions on everything, which is like, that's another thing too, bro. Like, I'm very simple. Like, I don't live. That's another thing that people don't like. If you're going to do this, I think you have to live very simple, in my opinion. You can't be like the guy who needs the flashy car. You can't be that guy who needs, super expensive clothing and all that stuff, bro. Like, if you can make a certain amount of money that fits your living standard, then the happiness and freedom that follows with that, I think, is more rewarding than the money, in my opinion. Like,
100% agree.
I just, bro, the year, like the years I've been doing this, like, to wake up and not answer to no one, bro, and just to do whatever I want, and that freedom is worth more to me than all the money. Because, sure, people could be like, yeah, money can bring you happiness and stuff like that, but I'm looking more for just the freedom, bro, of my decision making of whatever I want to do. And but back to like what
I've sold my bit. Like, I've had 3 different landscaping businesses now. I've sold 3 times, just trying to do other things, trying to like find, be happier. Like, I tried day trading, I tried more online stuff. So like,
right.
I get it. Like, just having that freedom of not having to like have a schedule, or, people constantly, customers having to, make happy, or people calling your phone or emailing you all the time on, it's dealing with employees, and it's a huge stress. And so like, yeah, I mean, I know exactly what you're saying. And like, that would kind of be like what I would strive to get to in the future, whether it be not like maybe all from YouTube, maybe some YouTube, some Pokemons, maybe some other side jobs, like just putting together an income and a lifestyle that I enjoyed more than, kind of having to work as hard as I do now.
So how, like, also curious, just how often are you buying? Because you buy obviously modern product. How often are you buying? Are you buying weekly? Are you buying, every couple weeks?
Not a lot now. Like, it's sporadic.
Sure.
Back in, 2, 3, 4 years ago, it was every day I could find something. Sometimes it was multiple items every day of the week. Sometimes it'd go a week without finding anything. But
right,
like I said, I was a lot more active, and I'd almost like to get back to that point. But it's like right now, I mean, I'm working so much. Like, after this, I have to go out and visit a couple job sites. It's like, I'm constantly working. I'm constantly dealing with, customers, dealing with, setting up schedules, getting employees right places, getting product ordered. Like, I'm just constantly doing stuff in my business, because I basically do a little bit of everything. And I just don't have time to put into all that anymore. And I think that's why I had that bias. And that's why I talk on it a lot on the channel is, having the time to do all the stuff like someone like you does full time compared to, well, if someone already has a life, a job, kids, a family, then maybe like something like a modern sealed product it might be a better option because you don't have to do all that legwork. And so I don't really have, I'm not buying very actively right now, except for like things in my collection or like modern sealed.
If someone had to ask you, like if I asked you, are you happy with your job? Honestly, answer it honestly.
I know, I'm trying to think. Like, I'm happier than if I would work for someone else. I think it goes back to like, if you ever watch a Shark Tank, like they always talk about in there, like as an entrepreneur, like I'm happier working harder and even more hours if that be than going and answering to someone else. Like I'd rather answer to customers or answer to employees and making sure like I have enough work for them, to keep making money, like than I would be answering to a boss telling me what to do.
Sure.
So and I'm happy, and me and my wife are happy. So as in my all in all life, I'm very happy. Could always be happier, right?
Sure.
That type of thing.
Sure. Nah, I mean
intent, not like dreaming, right?
Sure. I think it's cool, that you at least attempted YouTube and you're making it with bro. Some people never get to 1,000 subscribers, 2,000 subscribers. Like if you look at mine, whenever I try to start, bro, like I have videos that got like 13 views. And like I said, back then, YouTube wasn't sexy, bro. So like, the content that people were making on YouTube was opening a pack of, cards or opening a box or like showing off grading wasn't as big as the thing. So like whenever I would show off things I was sending for grading, stuff like that wouldn't get a lot of views because, grading wasn't what it is today. Like grading is way more, looked at on now than what it was before. And then also just in general, Pokemon is way bigger than what it was before too. And back to what, you said, I don't know how to edit stuff. I don't know how to do certain things. So like, there was nothing that I knew how to do as far as just turning on the camera and, doing whatever I did. And also I feel like
like no one had subscribers. Like Gem Mint didn't have many, like Rusty didn't have, TCA Gaming, like a lot of those guys didn't have subscribers so recently.
Honestly, like Rusty and SM Pratt, like the amount of subscribers they had at one point was like just mind blowing to me because I'm like, bro, they're so big and they're so like monumental within the hobby, and the fact that they don't have that, it's like crazy. Like not saying Leonhardt hasn't done a lot, but whatever, however you want to look at Leonhardt, but the fact that Leonhardt has way more subscribers than Rusty and SM Pratt, to me that's crazy.
And that's why I was talking about that ceiling. Like those guys, like some of the biggest collections of the hobby, the most knowledge, like been around forever, like everyone in the community knows them.
Right.
They're at like 30 and 60 or 70, 80,000 subscribers. It's like, so I know there's that ceiling. That's why I try to keep things realistic,
I will say that because Rusty's been going live a lot recently, I think that's definitely going to help him because I think a lot of people like that, they can see him now, he's actually going live, he's opening stuff, he's communicating with the chat. I think a lot of people like the live engagement versus popping on a video and just listening to someone talk, because then it it feels more personal because they're actually communicating with you. So I feel like a lot of people really enjoy that versus just leaving a comment or whatever it is, because otherwise it's like, well, is he going to read the comment, is he going to respond to me, is he actually looking at the stuff when you're live? If you're actually like reading chat and engaging with them, it actually makes them feel good.
And that's it's getting harder now because like you said, channel's getting a little bigger, but that was like my biggest thing when I started this channel is I am going to make sure I read and try to reply to every single comment, because that was my biggest pet peeves of other channels is like, like there's so many, I'm not going to name anyone, there's so many people that would just never, they wouldn't even click the like button to show you that they read your comment, like never respond, never. And it's just like, God, like, I'm subscribed to your channel. I watch your videos. Like the least you could do is at least like click that little heart to say, hey, I saw you. I get it.
Yeah, some type of acknowledgement.
Yeah, like it's not that hard. It doesn't take that much time.
No, and that boils back to, I don't know if I think I said this to my friend, not you, but like there's a lot of people in this space that are like, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have the time for this, bro. There's you can make time for things you want to make time for. I don't care who you are. You can make time for things you want to make time for. Like Yes, I understand. If you do this as a business, there's tons of things you could be doing. You could be doing consignment. You could be receiving orders. You could be shipping orders out to PSA. You could be buying collections. You could be looking for stuff to buy. But at the end of the day, bro, there's things you can do. Like don't give me the excuse of, I'm too. It's like when people are like, I want to go to the gym, but I don't have time.
Right.
No, it's not that you don't have time, bro. You just don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to prioritize it. You don't want to make it, a priority for you to get to it. So
Yeah, I respect the people more who just say, yeah, I don't like working out. Like, like just be real. Like if you don't want to do it, say you're not going to.
I think that's another thing too that I think a lot of YouTube has went away from is the real, like the real, like I don't know how to explain it, like the real aspect of it, instead of being all like, hey, what's up? Yeah, like, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to my channel, blah, blah, blah. And they're doing all this, like that's not how you really talk, bro. Talk to me how you really talk. Talk to me how you would talk to like your friend or something. Don't give me this whole fake thing when you click the record video and you got this whole new, persona, or you got this whole thing you need to uphold as a character or whatever you are. Like, I get it, like, sure. But like, that's why I think Ryan's channel is being really successful right now. It's because Ryan is being Ryan. Ryan is being who Ryan, bro. Ryan is like that. Ryan is, when he rips the boxes open and he throws stuff around, it's because that's Ryan doesn't care, bro.
You're right. I wish there was more of that. I mean, we talked about it off screen, off stream. I mean, I just wish there was like just more realness and more like the ability to get on just and disagree and be able to like,
sure,
be able to, somewhat argue with each other and be able to like say, no, that's wrong, or debate back and forth without there being so much of that, like that mushy lovey-dovey, like, oh, let's all just agree. Let's all collect Pokemon. Let's all have fun. Let's all agree. It's like, that's not real. Like when you talk with your friends, you're going back and forth with some subject.
100%.
You guys get heated at each other and
100%.
Like, that's real. It's like, that'd be the equivalent of like, back in the day playing like N64 and losing and just being like, oh, I lost. No, you got pissed. You threw the controller.
Everything.
Reset button. Like you get like, I just wish there was more like emotion showed with a lot of this stuff. And that's what I try to bring this up is like, hey, it's okay to show a little emotion. We're all human here. Like, just be real.
That's why I said, I agree with you. Like, I don't care if somebody tells me I'm wrong about grading at 18. I don't care if someone tells me I'm wrong for buying a certain sealed product. I don't care if someone tells me that I should do something. Like, then tell me what you think. Tell me what your stance is on it. And then we can go back and forth. And, yours is different from mine, but that's what makes the community, and that's what makes everything cool, is that in Pokemon, there's so many different sets. There's so many different Pokemons. There's so many different ways of going about collecting and going about, speculating, that everyone can have their own opinion and their own, like, they could do what they want. That's why I said at the end of the day, don't just copy somebody. Don't watch a YouTube video and buy only what he's buying, or, buy stuff you enjoy, buy stuff you like, build a stance on it, figure out why you like it, figure out why it's good to you, stuff like that.
Let's hit these last two questions. Ratha's Zapdos, as a business, how do you keep cash flowing with having money tied up for 150 plus days?
I mean, that just has back to having, I feel like having inventory and having things, to keep moving. I mean, when you tie up money, you got to be in that mindset that that money's going to be tied up. Is that what he's asking? Like, because if I'm tying money up, I'm in the mindset of like, okay, I'm about to tie this money up for a little bit. So I need another form of income, or I need something that's going to be rolling, or it's all about taking gains on certain things too. If things go up in price, you got to take gains on sometimes you can't hold stuff for 150 days, or I'm just always in the mindset when I tie something up, and that goes back to like personal collection and stuff like that too. Like I was telling him, like, that's what gets tough about, holding stuff for like you said, if something goes up, you're going to probably take a gain on it, right? You're going to probably sell it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of like, especially, this is less for like a actual real physical card store, but like someone like you, you don't have to have like a certain amount of fixed income every single month when you're in this scenario. Exactly. So if these cards come back and he can turn and make, 20, 30, 40, whatever $1,000 in a couple months, well, that could be income for multiple months, right? It's like the same thing with me. My business is seasonal. So it's like, I make a majority of my money between like late March, like here in Missouri, like late March until like, mid-November, like late November, maybe December. So like December, January, February, the income's like relatively nothing.
Yeah.
And so like, it's all about just budgeting out, and you make a huge amount of money in spring, a little more in fall, a good amount in summer. Like with my business, same thing with Pokemon. It's like, if you can make money here, so a few sales for here, and a whole bunch of money here, then more few sales, like, and it averages out to, just pick a number, $75,000. Well, it's like, that's the same as making like, $6,000 every single month. And so you don't have to constantly have a cash flow or sales every single month, the same amount.
It's like you said, it's pulling that average, like you said, of having that average versus saying a specific number every single month. And like, people who haven't sold before, like, or been in the hobby long enough, if you notice, sales usually decrease around this time, bro. Like, sales are usually slower around this time, or decrease, like whatever you want to call it. But when you get back to the winter time and stuff like that, you see prices and stuff start ticking up. Like, I mean, and it's just like, I don't know if you live in Florida, for instance, in the summertime, lawn care businesses are making all their money in the summer because it's raining, lawns growing faster. They got to mow grass, 3 times a month instead of 1 time a month in the winter or whatever it is. So it's all about, when you make that money, and then like you said, it's an average. It's not like specifically I need to hit 6,000 each month. It's more like I need to hit that number of the goal or whatever. So, all
right, last one. So question for GymHero. Thoughts on cracking CGC 10s, sending them to Beckett to aim for the black labels?
Don't do it, brother. Who asked that?
Chino Azul.
Okay. I was gonna say somebody asked that in I think somebody asked that in Dan's or somebody's chat. Don't do that. I would not do it. I mean, I'm not like, I know PSA prices, but I'm not very knowledgeable on what CGC, what did he say? Perfect or pristine?
Perfect.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not knowledgeable at all on like what
how does a perfect measure to a Beckett pristine, not a black? Is it about the same?
I have no idea. So like, that's like
close, right?
But just my opinion, black labels, regardless of it being a modern card, are extremely hard to grade, bro. Outside of even a modern card, if you send in a modern card, it is extremely hard to still get a black label. And there's also people who speculate that BGS pop controls black labels. So, I mean, I'm not taking that risk. If you have, a CGC 10 or perfect 10 and you graded it yourself, I would just sell it like that. Or, you could do what other people are doing where they're buying CGC lower grade stuff and turning into a PSA. Like, that might be worth it. But as far as already a card that's pristine or perfect 10, I don't really know how much more money there is to be made. And shooting for a black label, I mean,
and Echo, Base Collectibles, when he was in here, he was talking about how there's people that have CGC 10 sets they're collecting. So
someone might pay a premium.
It could be more valuable if someone needs that card for their set, they might be willing to pay up for that.
I was going to say they might pay a premium for that, because I don't know how hard it is to grade that, at CGC. I don't know how hard a pristine or a perfect 10 is to grade. I heard that CGC is being a lot more lenient now. So I don't know. It's how much, bro, it all depends what someone's willing to pay as well. And it also depends on your cost of entry on the card and, what your goal is. Like, but if you're asking me just straight up, would I crack that and try to grade a black label? No, I would not do that.
Guys, we're going to call it there. Hey man, so normally I shout out people's YouTube channel. You tell me, what do you want to shout out? Your eBay store, your Instagram? Go ahead. Take the
I don't, bro. I told you originally when I talked to you, we didn't even have to go live, bro. I told you, like, I could have just talked to you normal off stream. Like, I don't look for no recognition. I don't look, for no.
We're here though, so go ahead.
If you want to, you can follow me on Instagram. That is literally my Instagram name on the screen. If it's on, I think it is PokemonGymHero. Like, if you want to follow me on there, you can follow me. You can send me a message or whatever, bro. I'm really friendly. So, outside of that, bro, I don't need to, shout my stuff. I'm not trying to gain nothing, bro. I'm not going to create a YouTube channel or nothing like that, man. But I just like debating, bro. I just like getting on. That's why I said, like, when I'm in the chat and I try to, like, when people are talking about stuff, it's so hard for me to be able to type, because one, there's a limit on how much you can type. Then whether you see it or not, then, about getting the point across, then I don't know.
I think I started a channel.
No,
I was through the same things through Pokenomic streams, and I just kept getting shut down so hard. I'm like, All right, I'll just try to throw it on a channel, see what happens.
You know what I like about that he's been doing though. I like that he's been doing the live call in I think that's cool.
Great idea.
I think that was a great idea. Yeah,
that was huge.
I think that's a really cool idea because I've done it a couple times and like I feel like that's a way for people to actually get out there and actually express
and to see how other people think.
Yeah, no, 100, bro. I told him, I said, honestly, when I was on there last time, I said, this is probably the best thing that you've ever done for your channel, in my opinion, just because you're engaging with everybody, bro. And everyone, whoever wants to, if you're in the chat, you can go in there and you can have questions and talk to them and, pick their brains about whatever, which is why I try to get on people's lives or recently is just to talk and like, cause bro, if we would have never did this originally, like you said, you thought I was trying to troll you or you thought I was just being a hater or whatever. And I mean, like you said, bro, you said you like for it to be some realness. And I was just, voicing my opinion about how I felt about some of the things you said. And I wasn't even trying to be rude or nothing. I was just like, bro, this is how I feel, blah, blah, blah. And I would just talk about it. And, that sure. I think, bro, I think people coming on and people talking about stuff and engaging and I think it's all great, bro. Everybody has something good to say. You can learn from anybody, bro, whether you're the smallest guy or you're the biggest guy. The whales can learn from the fish.
One last shot, Poke Grinding. Thanks for the cheer. And Lil Lonzo, YouTube. Thanks for the super chat. Everyone, thanks for showing up. Everyone who participated in the chat. And yep, I'll be back in a new video soon.